Hello, can anyone hear me or see me? Preferably both. Could you put something in the chat? Let me know if I'm coming through loud and clear. I'm just going to sit here until that happens. Okay, I've got a yep. Taz, I have nothing in the chat at all. I don't know if the chat box is working. Could you type something in there? Blanket. Oh, hello. Right, we've got people. Jodie Music, hello. Hey, Taz. Oh, look at all the people here. Hello, Chris. Hello, Melissa. Hey, Kim, Cindy. Subhashis Deb. Deborah Walker, Martina Kaywood, C. Curtis, Anna back home, Jen Summer. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Wow, there's a ton of you here. That's amazing. Right, well, while we're waiting for people to arrive, I have no idea how many of you there are or anything like that. I actually can't see my YouTube screen at all. I've just got a chat box here, which is probably for the best. Why don't you let me know where you're all from, because that's always really exciting for me. I really like that. I've got my daughters on. My daughters are both in the chat this evening. Two of the three of them, at least. Anyway, ooh, South Africa. Hey, Buffy Marie. Slovenia. Wow, I think that might be a first. Florida. Oh, I love those hearts and trees, Bon. That's beautiful. Oh, Workflow Tarot. Oh, I love a bit of workflow. That's wonderful. Oh, Syracuse, Indiana, Scotland. Hey, you're not too far away from me. Florida. There's a lot of Floridians in the house. Maine, Australia, Belfast, Trinidad. I think that might be a first as well. Texas. Is it hot in Texas? It's fucking freezing here. Oh, I've got my Mexico blanket, look, keeping me warm. Norway, amazing. North Carolina, Tasmania. Oh, my brother-in-law lives in Tasmania. One day I hope to go over and visit him, but it's probably not going to be for a little while yet. India, hello. More Slovenians. I had loads of Slovenians in the house. How perfectly charming. Love it. Arizona, South Carolina. Hi from Sweden, Idaho, Oregon, Iran. Wow. That's incredible. I've been watching what's been going on in Iran. And it's actually had me very close to tears, I have to tell you. Your cat's hooking the halogen heater. Do you know, I took a picture of my cat earlier today because he was sat on the fence and he'd managed to get the one sunbeam that was left from a setting sun while he was sitting on the fence. It made an exquisite photo, I have to say. Ireland, Maryland. Hello to all of you people. Krishna 2020 asks, how long have I been doing tarot readings? I've been reading tarot for quite a long time, and then I put it down for quite a long time as well, and it was probably about I'm going to say about 2015 I picked it back up again. There's a funny story behind that. It was actually my cousin's fault. My Aquarius cousin, who lives on the other side of the planet, he's in New Zealand. I won't bore you with it now. Hi from your house. My daughter's just sent me a message. Yeah, he got a tattoo done, and it was of the Strength card, but I didn't recognise it as the Strength card. He sent me a picture of it, and he said, "What do you think? What does it remind you of?" And there was something kind of dinging in my head, but I couldn't work out what it was. And then he went, "Oh, it's the Strength card," and I was like, how did I not recognise that? Tarot used to be really important to me. I had been to university and whatnot in the meantime and filled my head full of legal things, so I'm sort of putting it down to that. And I felt so sad that I hadn't recognised it, that I went and dug out my one singular tarot deck that I had at the time, and then I just sort of ground it for ages and ages and ages. I didn't actually do a tarot reading for anyone. Oh, God bless you. That is so sweet of you. Thank you, Nesha. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'd never done a tarot reading for anybody else before. I want to say April 2019. I think that would have been when it was. Or thereabouts, at least. Certainly it wasn't more than 3 or 4 months before I started the channel, which is an incredibly egotistical and Leo-like thing to do. I didn't actually really want to start the channel. I was kind of pushed to do it by forces, let's put it that way. Yeah, so that's the thing. Oh, Layla, my hair has got so long, hasn't it? Believe it or not, I actually got it cut the week before I went to Mexico. And I had a good chunk taken off it then. It's looking a little tidier, believe it or not, than it did just before I went to Mexico. But it's probably, I don't know, it's probably due another cut again. I can't be asked. Eloise DeWitt. My sun sign is Leo, as I just said. There. I've actually got Leo stellium. But I also have a 7th house stellium and I have an 8th house stellium, so Leo and Scorpio are quite prominent in my chart. I was about to say, good Lord, what's wrong with your jaws? And then I realised it was you, Donna, and I was like, oh, right, okay, you definitely get some some ice for those jaws. Fucking hell. Yeah, my hair is kind of wild, Charlotte. I can't really do anything about that, to be honest. I don't really want to do anything about it. I quite like it. It's like a distinguishing feature, isn't it? It means my kids can pick me out from anywhere, like in a crowd. It's brilliant. It's like having a big red beacon on top of my head. Hey, Duncan, you're in Mexico at the moment. Whereabouts are you? I was staying in Playa del Carmen, but we sort of travelled about, and I went to Yucatan and to Chichen Itza and kind of wore around. Caitlin, no, I do not have a Scorpio moon. I have a Leo moon. Leo sun, Leo moon, and Capricorn ascendant. Suzanne, Sylvia, just got my first tarot deck. How do you suggest I get started learning? So here's the thing, right? I kind of feel like learning to read tarot is probably a little bit like learning to drive, in so much as there's kind of you've got to grind at it and do the boring stuff first. Now, there are some people who will tell you just throw away the book and pay no attention to the book and just read intuitively, and there's absolutely a case to be made for that. But they've been created the way that they have for a reason, and I think having that basic knowledge of what every single card means that when you get to the point where you're actually driving properly, right, it's not just about making a car go, but you can actually drive. I feel like that happens after you learn to drive, right? Once you've passed your test and you're out on the roads by yourself, that's when you really learn how to drive. And I feel the same about tarot. So once you've done all the kind of boring bit and you've reached this level of proficiency whereby you know the basic meaning of all of these cards, then you can start letting your intuition start playing a part, because that's a really necessary part of the process. Is if you don't use your intuition, you won't notice when a card turns up and it actually means not this, but you can feel that in here sometimes, and this comes up in here as well. This is what you want, this is not what you're going to get because of these reasons, I don't know. But I would like to teach at some point. I would like to be able to show other people how to do stuff with the tarot. When I have time. I don't know when that's going to be. I've got both of my daughters in the chat because I am renowned for going off on great verbal ramblings for 10 minutes and missing 600 questions and whatnot in the chat. So I've got my daughters on it, and Magdalena's just pointed out that somebody's asked or said that it's interesting that my new home has a similar corner location visually as a past home. Is there something to that? Not deliberately, interestingly enough. I mean, it's not the same. We're on the ground floor, obviously, and the turret was quite spectacular. There's considerably more room behind the camera and behind the laptop now than there was when I was stuck in that little turret, because it literally was what you could see was what there was. But this bay window business is quite fascinating to me. And when I got got everything set up here, I was like, God, it's like I haven't even moved, except that, you know, this looks better now. Apparently a patron is asking how to schedule a private reading as well. I'm not doing private readings at the moment, just because the next, God, what's the date? Is it the 24th? The next 15 days are absolutely rammed solid with things that I must do, and a considerable number of things that I really should try and do if I can possibly manage it. I do not have the time certainly in the next half a month, to do any readings. I'm hoping, actually, oh gosh, this segues beautifully into one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Let me just move that out of the way there a second. I'm taking the children to Bulgaria for a week, next Wednesday, yes, and I should be back the following Wednesday. And then that Thursday, the day after, I'm bouncing straight out to the London Tarot Conference, or the UK Tarot Conference in London, and I should be there from the 6th to the 9th or something like that. And then I've got a couple of things that I need to do for the next few days. So certainly up until the 15th of October, I do not have time to do any. I'm hoping on the other side of that, I can open up my books and start doing some readings again, because it's a thing. So the reason that segued beautifully is because I wanted to tell you all about the UK Tarot Conference, because it's happening fairly soon, obviously. Let me pull up my details here. Oh, here we are. So my little flyer here. So, unfortunately, if you were wanting to attend physically, you can't, because it just completely sold out, and I think it sold out in about March or April this year, something like that. Like, it was announced, and about 2 weeks later, it was completely sold out, because it's very good. But what they do is virtual attendance. It's something that Kim, who's the founder, set up in 2020, because obviously at that point everything was in the midst of absolute hysteria, and events were all getting cancelled. And so I think with 2 weeks to spare, like 2 weeks before the conference, she made the decision to put it all online so that she didn't have to cancel it. And it actually worked, which I think, to her absolute amazement, I think. So she decided to do it again the next year, and that was brilliant. It was the 2021 that I attended virtually, and I thought it was absolutely magnificent. There were all sorts of offshoots from that were cool. And then I attended in person last year. Now, the reason that I'm talking to you about this at all, and the reason why I want to let you know about it, is because I bumped into Kim at the Tabby Tarot conference that I went to in July. I want to say it's July, something like that. And I've managed to negotiate you a special offer. If any of you are wanting to attend virtually, and I cannot recommend this conference highly enough. If you are interested in tarot, whether you're a newbie like the person that I was just talking to there before, or you are a practicing professional who is actually earning their living doing this, there is something in there for absolutely everyone. So I think the full price was something like £120 for virtual access for the 2 days, and for that price, you also got lifetime access to it. And as we know, it's quite nice sometimes to go back to things, and you pick up more, when you go back later on than you did when you were actually there at the time. It's a bit like tarot readings themselves, But Kim has said for my subscribers and my patrons, my patrons, she will do you a deal for £69, and I think that is absolutely incredible. Now, if you are wanting to take that offer up, it's the 7th and 8th of October, so you can watch it. It's literally live streamed, so you can watch it as it happens, or you can watch it on delayed viewing later on. What you need to do is get in touch with Kim, so that would be offers at tarotconference.co.uk, and then put, I think you just put Carrie in the subject line. I think that's right. And just say you're one of Carrie's subscribers and you'd like to take up the £69 offer for the tarot conference, and she will sort it out with you from there. I'm getting absolutely no kickback from this at all. I just really, really believe in the value of what Kim has created here, and I want to be able to share it with you, you know. It's difficult to travel around at the moment, and there are some, you know, there are a few big tarot conferences around. Some of you might know I was supposed to go to Salem in 2020 to go to Tarot City tarot conference, and that didn't happen. I ended up not going, obviously, because it was 2020. But this is one of those situations where there's a resource here, and I think it's really amazing. And if you don't use it, it disappears. I actually saw an interview with Kim that she'd done a couple of months ago, I think, and she was saying that she wasn't quite sure if she was going to bother with the virtual stuff next year because it is incredibly stressful for her. And I think that's a shame, and I think that we should support her, because it is an incredibly valuable resource and everybody learns something, you know. God, last year one of the speakers absolutely reduced me to tears. It was very quiet. I was very discreet about it, obviously, but his presentation was absolutely phenomenal. So to that end, actually, let me tell you about the things. So Celtic Tarot there, that's Christopher Hughes. He's the dude who reduced me to tears with his absolutely incredible presentation and speech and everything. It was amazing. But there are others too. Alright, I've got this stack of stuff out because I wanted to show you. So let me just get it all out from over here. Oh. So past speakers have included, so we've got John Matthews, who created the Wildwood Tarot that I use on this channel all the time. There is his wife, Cashlyn Matthews, who is an absolutely prolific author. Chances are, if you own a book on tarot, you probably will own one by her. That's the Untold Tarot there. I think she has a particular specialisation in, like, the Marseille, but I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't say that for certain. The Oracularium, you know, the wonderful Neil Kelso and Andrea Asti, who created all of these. They're regular attenders. I've seen them twice now because they were at the 2020 and 2021 conference. Again, we've got this book here, The Lantern Collective, Working with the Tarot. There's the Oracularium. This deck that I've got here, Tarot, Shadow and Light, this was actually created with John Matthews. It's Andrea Asti and John Matthews. I've just backed one of Andrea's new decks on Kickstarter. It's absolutely insanely good. I love it. Rachel Pollock. I mean, I think for most people this is the go-to book for tarot. That's 78 Degrees of Wisdom. It's an incredible book. She has been at the conference before. Well, I've got more stuff down here. Oh, I'll have a look. Benabel Wen, creator of both the Spirit Keepers Tarot and the Holistic Tarot. She's been there too. Unfortunately, I missed her. Janine Worthington, creator of the In-Between Tarot. She's just brought out another couple of decks. I'm sure she's brought out a tarot and an oracle deck or something like that. And she has just been elected chair of TABI, which is the Tarot Association of the British Isles. She's very, very sweet. I love her to bits. Ethne Dawn. She's Australian, I think. I'm sure she's from Australia or New Zealand or something like that. Anyway, she was actually presenting in 2020, the year that I watched it on online. And then, obviously, Richard Abbott, who some of you will be familiar with because I rave about him on this channel all the time. He's a numerologist, but also, well, he's actually a bit of everything. Particularly a numerologist, but he did a whole presentation about numerology and tarot, which was absolutely fascinating. Yeah, I mean, this is just an example of some of the caliber of some of the people that come to the conference. And so yeah, I wanted to share this with you. Like I said, I get nothing from this at all other than the joy of being able to share something which I think is really scholarly and awesome and accessible. It's really, really accessible. So you don't need to worry if you've never picked up a deck of cards before, or you've just got a new deck. There will be something there for you. And again, if you are professional, you're earning your living from it, then that's the thing too, right? So I'm just catching up with my kids here, what they're saying. Does your family support you or challenge your choice of an occult study? Well, my family are 100% supportive. I think they all kind of look at me sideways a little bit. They think I'm a bit strange, but they're quite happy to just let me crack on. It's fine. Also, could I repeat the link, he said. Okay, is that to do with the tarot conference? This is not working terribly well. Right. To get the offer for the tarot conference before we move on here, you need to email offers, that's OFFERS, at tarotconference.co.uk. So TAROTCONFERENCE.co.uk. Right. Put my name, so you can put Carrie or Scorched Earth or whatever in the subject line, and then UK conference. Email her and say you want to take the offer up, and then she will take you from there, and she'll do everything with you that you need to do. Yeah, I'm just letting you know that it's a thing and that it's happening, and that I really fucking believe in this as well. And what I would really, really love is for the reaction from you all to be so overwhelming that it absolutely dispels in her head any notion of the fact that she wouldn't be putting it online again next year. That's my secret hope, but that's a thing. Right, now let me have a look and see what is going on in here. Sai L, no, I am not reading in here for people tonight. I've done that once before and I ended up here 6 hours. I can't do it because I get into a zone, and when I get into a zone, my boundaries completely disappear, and then I'm sat here for 6 hours, and it took me 3 days to recover after I did that. So no, I do not read live now in this sort of forum for people anymore, because it's just too much, and I can't say no, apparently. I certainly can't say that's enough, at least, anyway. Would someone put in the chat the tarot conference name, location, dates, and discount link? Right. Again, 7th and 8th of October. So we're talking a couple of weeks. It's in London, but obviously you can't attend physically because it's sold out. This is for virtual attendance. And again, that email is offers@tarotconference.co.uk. I will actually, when we finish this live stream, I think it'll post so other people can come back and watch it later. I'll put it in the description, all of that. Although if Taryn or Lena are around and you want to pop it in there, then that was cool too. Eloise, did I get your name wrong? I'm so sorry. It's the worst thing. I have an uncle who still thinks I'm called Kerry, and I sort of, at the age of 7, I stopped. I just gave up trying to tell him that my name is Carrie, because he even just wrote it Kerry a million different ways. So yeah, it's a bit of a bugbear of mine when people get my name wrong. So apologies for that. Right. Yeah, Christine, that's it. That is exactly what it is. Like, I had not intended to be doing a 6-hour live stream at all, but you just get into the zone, and the problem is that you don't notice that your energy levels are through the floor. And by the time I finally did end, I was about ready to collapse. I think I put my head on the table. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how many readings I did that night, but it was literally one after the other, after the other, after the other. Like, there's no gap anywhere. And it was a bit distressing. was kind of cool in some ways to see that I could absolutely push myself to physical exhaustion, but I don't think it's particularly good viewing for anyone that didn't feel the need to do it again. Hello Sonia, I love my Tauruses. Right, I'm going to need to scroll this chat up a little bit so I can actually see what is going on here, because I'm sure I've missed stuff and I'm getting confused trying to look at too many things at once. Let's see what Taryn said. I'm messaging on Discord. Right, Discord's not popping up for me, Tazbag, I'm sorry. Let me have a look. Yeah, that's cool. I've covered all of those. That's good. Elena. Yes, that's exactly right, Magdalena. Yeah. So she should be putting the link in there for you, I think, because she's just written it down there for me. So, oh, Kaywood, you're in Leicester. Unlucky. Seems a little bit apocalyptic down there at the moment. She grew up not very far from Leicester. So let's go down here. Oh, cool. Sorry, bear with me a second. I'm just trying to get caught up. Oh, Duncan, you're in player as well. Cool. Home as Guatemala, that's cool as well. Okay, I think I'm catching up here. Right. Oh, Blue, thank you for the super chat. I didn't even see that there. Thank you so much. That's really generous of you. VV, all the signs are done. All the signs are done. October is complete. I just need to release them all, and I will do 3 of them this evening when I come off this live stream. I'll put the next 3 up, and then the other 3 tomorrow, I guess, is what I'll do. You miss me slamming the window shut and blaspheming. I don't miss that. Whilst it might have been entertaining for all of you, and I can see how it would be, what was underlying that reaction, because there's only so far I could ignore it, and then when it got to the point where I actually had to shut the fucking window, I was actually up a height with it. It was really, really unpleasant for me. So I'm now pleased that I can sit here literally with the window open. And you hear that? Can you hear that? That's right, fucking nothing. Nothing at all. If you're really lucky, you might hear an owl. Got a barn owl that's hanging around at the moment and it's making some cool noises. Actually, you can usually hear my chickens in the day. My cockerel gets up late. Well, he's up early, but he doesn't start crowing for some reason till about 7 a.m, which is really good. Hey Judy, nice to see you. Right, I think I caught up. Oh, Frank Vaughan, I'm glad. I'm glad I was a crutch for you. Like, I was, there was some severe anxieties going on with me last year in my house move, for sure. But I do feel like I've chilled out incredibly since then. I explained this to a couple of people. It was like, I think I'd been here about a month or 6 weeks, something like that. Before I had this kind of funny feeling, and I was like, what is that funny feeling? And I was like, oh, I'm like spiritually breathing again. That's how it feels. Because it felt like for a whole year I held my breath, and that was deeply unpleasant. I didn't enjoy it, didn't want to do it, and it was like, you can relax now. Everything's okay. You can actually relax. And I was like, wow, okay. And then I, threw myself with gay abandon into my vegetable garden and stuff like that, and actually started enjoying things again, which was nice. Hey Nancy, haven't seen you in a long time. So, yeah, Frank, that's incredible. I want to live somewhere where you can hear the stars. That sounds like absolute bliss and perfection to me. And to be fair, this is doing pretty well, so it's good. Fuck's sake. Right, let's just remove that from fucking chat. Oh, I don't even know if I can. No, I can't. Okay. Taryn and Magdalena, I found an issue with this. Like, what I need to do is make you moderators so that you can actually, like, remove all the best adult dating site fucking chats appearing here in front of me. We're not about that life. We don't want that. Go away. So, yeah, the relaxation is good. Which is mad, because I'm doing loads, but I'm doing it in quite a chill way. So that's excellent. Thank you so much, Belin. Is that Belinda? Oh, I need to expand this box so I can see it. Belinda Frank. There we go. That's better. Right. Thank you, Tazbag. Much appreciated. Oh, gosh. I've been able to do something incredible with the chat there. I'm not sure I like it, though. Let's put that back where it was. That's better. I'm messing with things I don't understand. I need Taryn to be literally in the room with me. Anyway, so... Cameron, I would absolutely, 100% love to visit some conferences in the US. I would actually just love to come over to the US, because there are so many people now that I've met through doing this that I really want to, and you're totally one of them, that I need to go and hang out with in real life. But I'm one of those unvaccinated wretches, so I'm not allowed into your country, I'm afraid, at the moment. That's okay. At some point when this is all blown over, we'll head over and do a big ass fucking road trip. God, I'd be there for months, I think. Oh, thank you for asking about the children. They are very, very well. Although, so my patrons know about this, but hurry, the rest of you don't. About 2 months ago now, my twins were running around. I was headed down the motorway to go and help my eldest son move the last of his stuff out of his uni digs, because he'd just finished university. And I got a phone call from my partner. My twins had been running around, and one of them ran through the hallway door, like from the kitchen into the hallway, and my boy, and my daughter was running after him. She thought he was going upstairs, so she ran full tibby into the doorway, and he actually stopped to turn around and slam the door, and somehow, and to date we are all still unclear how this could possibly have fucking happened. Somehow she managed to impale herself on the door handle, her arm. The door handle went in there, along her bicep, and out again. And she was still on the door when my partner came running to see why she was screaming. And then he had to kind of her off the door. So obviously I resisted the urge to do an absolute handbrake turn on the A1. I got off at the next exit and then drove back about twice as fast as I had driven to the point that I was at. Came and got her. My partner had done an amazing job on absolutely strapping it up really, really well and covering it. And I slung her in the back of the car and then had to drive to the RVI in Newcastle because my local hospital was closed. The A&E have closing times. Like, when was that ever a thing? So I had to drive to the big hospital, half an hour away in the city, and get her looked at. So the first time I saw it was when they took the dressing off to triage. And I was like, oh, because she had a hole about the size of a 50p piece here, and then another one about the size of a 20 pence piece. Sorry, that's probably not very useful for those of you who aren't in the UK, but I mean, it was sizable, and you could see stuff in it. And they had a look, and they went, that needs plastic surgeons, so you're going to have to come back tomorrow in the morning, and they'll decide what to do from there. So they just cleaned it up, and they covered it all back up again. We went home, got home about 1 o'clock, I think, something like that, 1 a.m, and then had to get up early and be back at the plastic surgery clinic in Newcastle for 9 a.m. And they had a look at it, inspected it, and went, yeah, she needs surgery, she needs to be admitted. They were actually talking at one point about the possibility of her needing a skin graft for it. It was a big old fucking hole, actually. It was bigger than a 50p piece, but it was big. But they couldn't tell me which way it was, so they said, right, we need to wait for a bed. So we waited all day for them to find a bed so that they could admit her. And then they said, it's just a waiting game now. We just wait for the theatre, the operating theatre, to be free, and then we don't, till we have a look in there and see what she's done. Like, we can't tell you if she's going to need a skin graft or whatever. You know, it said best case scenario, she'll be out in half an hour. Worst case could be 3 hours. Just depends how it goes. And as it was, she was out in about hour and 10 minutes, something like that. And they'd done the most incredible job. It's so neat. And somehow, despite the fact that it was wider than it was tall, she's got 2 scars that run parallel. Like, they're gnarly as fuck. Like, on a little 9-year-old arm, they're gnarly as. But they are very tidy. And they looked quite lumpy and angry for a while, but they're really starting to settle down now. She's got this routine. She massages it with this aqueous cream every night, and it's flattened right out, but those are scars she's going to have for the rest of her life. They're absolutely insane. And still can't work out how she did it. Like, nobody can work out how she did it. She can't work out how she did it. It's just like she was running and then suddenly she was on a door. I mean, mental. Yeah, I'm so glad my partner was here and just went straight into, first aid mode. He's not one for flapping anyway, but the funny thing is, he was talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of got a shudder, and I was like, you okay? And he was like, I just saw it again in my head. He said, and it's really weird, when it happened, I just I was just like, right, I have to get her off the door, I was strapping her up. Yeah, he said, I didn't really think about it at all, but that it was kind of horrible. I was like, yeah, well, thank you for doing it well. I appreciate it. Let's have a look. Yeah, she's absolutely fine now. I mean, she was fine. Like, she's an absolute warrior, that one. She fucking wants to be. The things she ends up doing. She's a bit of a klutz as well. Yeah, perfectly broken. She is really lucky she didn't do that. She's also lucky that she didn't tear her muscle. I think she had a few internal stitches and then the big ones on the outside, but yeah, she could have made much more of a mess of herself than she actually did. And I still can't work out how she did it at all, but she's good and she's more comfortable with it now than she was. She was really, really uncomfortable. She didn't want to look at it or anything for a while, which I understand because it was gnarly. But now the stitches are all broken down and it's all flat and everything, she's cool. She's good with it. Macaulay, I am not pulling cards this evening. I'm sorry. I've already addressed why I will not be doing that. Oh, silicone med patches. I will have a look at that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Skyflower, you're right. Children do heal so fast. Like, I think I'd still be walking around with a fucking hole in my arm if I tried to do that. But like, it looks great. Well, it doesn't look great. I mean, it looks terrible. But at the same time, I quite like scars. I've got some really, really amazing scars. And I just think they're really interesting. It's just one of my little foibles, I guess. So on the one hand, I'm kind of proud that she's got such a gnarly scar. It's incredible. And at the same time, I'm like filled with absolute horror that my child has a scar like that, you know. I would imagine it's probably exactly how my mother, well, I don't know. I was going to say how my mother felt when I did the one on my leg. I cut it right down to near enough to the bone, running past a pile of slates when I was 8 years old. That was a gnarly, it still is. It's a very 80s looking scar, because it's fat as fuck as well. It's really big on my leg. But I don't know if she thinks scars are cool like I do, so. Orist, fourth horseman, you are absolutely correct. Right. I think physical scars are cool, mental scars are not cool. Yeah, Lindsay, you're absolutely Lindsay McPherson, you're absolutely right. It was actually one of the things my partner said. It was like, I'm gonna change all the door handles. Yeah, we're gonna get knobs. I'm just gonna put knobs on. There's no way you could impale yourself on one of those. Well, no, I mean you probably could, but you need to be fired out of a cannon or something for that to be the case, I think. So, yeah, it was a little bit harrowing, but it's all good. Dawn Maestus Cowl. Yes, I moved from the terrible place. Because the whole thing was falling apart. No, it was dreadful. I've moved. Very happy here. The landlord had to do loads and loads of things for the council, because I got council involved, and they were like, holy shit, and put him on an improvement notice, and he had to do loads of things. But he also sold the house as well, and I've heard somebody's just bought it. It's actually somebody that my partner knows has bought it, so that's good. The landlord had to pay me compensation as well for the rent that I had paid, and him not doing anything to the house for like years, like literally years. Anyway, so, oh god, Roxy darling, that's horrible. That's really, really horrible. I know so many people who've done that, like, and to varying degrees of injury as well. Like, some of them have come out of it completely unscathed. I'm feeling really uncomfortable just remembering different stories that I've been told, and they always make me kind of cringe. It's in your 40s and love your scars. Well, it's a pretty cool thing to have scars from, to be honest. Yeah, Dawn, they are very busy twins. So I've got 2 puppies as well, so I've got another set of twins in the fucking house. The third set of twins. Yeah, they're also very busy all the time. They're keeping me on my toes at the moment. What is it here? What's my favourite kind of tea? I like chaga tea. I don't think that really counts because it's a mushroom, but I really like chaga tea with some licorice root in it. Boil it all up. Just next level. Amazing. I like pine needle tea as well. Right, Taryn says I might want to check Discord before answering any more messages. Sorry, Taryn. Oh god, Discord's disappeared. Discord. Let's bring it back up. So, fuck. Okay. Yeah, I've got 5 children. Whoever it was who wanted to know that. I've had 6, and I lost one at 4 months old, so I have 5. Yeah. So and the one that died was one of twins. So yes, I've had 2 sets of twins, and now I have twin dogs as well, or twin bitches. Actually, they're not dogs. They are Alice, Malamute. Now let me get this right. I'm going to cock this up. If there's anybody that speaks Czech in the chat, they're probably going to be really upset with me. Vlakak, Czechoslovakian Vlakak, Vlakak, crossed with Malamute. So they're wolf dogs, basically. And they're 12 weeks old, I think. And they're already sort of, I don't know, nose to tail, about that big, and stand about yay high. And they're absolutely stunning, beautiful, and wonderful, and terrible at the same time. I'm so done with cleaning up wee. It's not for much longer. It'll be fine. Oh, Leslie, where do you harvest your chaga from? Because I was buying mine from Siberia, right up until about, February this year, and then the cost of postage just became prohibitively expensive. And thankfully, I've still got some in the cupboard, but not as much as I would like, I have to say. So yeah, big gorgeous wolfy dogs. They look actually like they're related to Silas, which is mad, because they're not in any way. And apart from the Malamute bit, there is no correlation with the input of dogs that went to make them. And Silas turned into Super Dad overnight. It was absolutely incredible. Loved it. He's barked and woofed and growled more in the last month than in the last 7 years. It's like he's really stepped into his dogness now. And he's really good. He's really good at keeping on top of them and making sure that they're behaving themselves as well. So, Brenda Mitchell. I just love Malamutes. I really do. Silas is just my best friend. He has been forever. Well, 7 years now. Actually, he knows me better than anybody else on the planet, and he is the best dog. It's the best dog. Do I have other things to tell you? I felt like there were other things that I wanted to tell you, but I've forgotten what they are. You're in Canada. You've got about £30 of it in the cupboard. Wow. I am envious. I wish I had £30 of it in the cupboard. I've got some stocks, but not that much. A dying dream. Yes, I have planets in the 8th house. I have Saturn and Pluto in the 8th house, plus 2 others, which I forget off the top of my head. I've got a 7th and 8th house stellium. There's 5 planets in the 7th house and 4 planets in the 8th house. Maria Franco, nice to see you. Lynette, talk about Circle. I could talk about Circle, yes, that's true. It's not like that's been absolutely having my life for the last 48 hours or anything. I just completely forgot about it. I've been so enjoying talking to you all here. So, some of you may know that for the last 2.5 years I have been running a Patreon, which is, it's been kind of working and it's been fine. But I've come to the conclusion that Patreon is not for me anymore. And so, I guess yesterday or the night before, I've effectively done somewhat of a soft launch, in so much as I'm migrating, hopefully, everyone from Patreon over to a new platform which is called Circle. There are lots of reasons why I went with Circle. It was recommended to me quite highly. So I checked it out, and I had a number of meetings with Circle people, and it's a good fit, I think. I'm still kind of, I'm being a total Luddite about it. I'm having to learn really, really fast. But what I like about Circle is that it's got the capacity to create the community, which is what I had always had in mind when I set up Patreon. And it just so happens that Patreon really hasn't been up to the task of what I wanted to, or the vision that I had for the community, because that's what I want, really, is a proper community with, horizontal integration, so people aren't just coming to hear me fucking pontificate like I do, once a month, but they're actually having an opportunity to talk to each other. And there's all sorts of functionality built into Circle that there isn't in Patreon. And between you and I, Patreon have been absolutely bending me over in fees for some time now as well. And I'm not entirely sure what for, if I'm honest. They've had... Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and slag them off, because actually they were very good. They were very good for me to start on. And I'm sure for a lot of other people it works. But the the vision that I had really needed something different, and so that's what we're doing now. Oh, just seen a message. Is that my daughter there? She's on her tangent now. I can't help. It's what I do. I'm sorry. Like, okay. Getting bollocked. Right. Right, circle. Yeah, like, let's keep talking about circle. So, like I said, I've done effectively somewhat of a soft launch. It sort of all came about much more quickly than I'd anticipated. But I was looking at the astrology and... Whoa, hello.
Stop rambling. Read me and Terrence's messages.
I'm trying, but I'm also trying to give information. Please don't bollock me.
I didn't mean to knock
Live
that
on
out.
YouTube, that was very aggressive.
Sorry, I didn't mean to knock that
And
out.
now you're bollocking me on YouTube.
Taryn was yelling at you in chat.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to deal with one thing at a time. Oh my god.
She was slightly bitter.
Oh my god. I can't even remember what I was talking about now. What was I talking about? Somebody tell me. Right, Erin, I know. I can shout myself. Oh, good lord. Sorry, Isis. Okay, I was talking about circle and I can't remember what it was that I was even saying about it. Anyway, yeah, it's happening. It's a thing. I've removed the Patreon link from all of the videos now, in the strongest possible terms. Please don't sign up because I am winding that down and it will be closing very, very soon. If you want to get on board with the community stuff and have access to the extended readings and, you know, all that kind of thing for like a monthly subscription, essentially, we head in that way. There are some teething problems at the moment, so whilst I'm ironing those out, I'm just migrating my patrons over. I'm not opening it up to anybody else at the moment. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed and touch wood and all that kind of thing, that we should be within a week, I would think, be in a position for people to jump on board if that's what they want to do. So, thank you reporting all the sex bots, like, what the fuck. I can't talk and read at the same time. This is the problem, right? So if I start answering a question, I'm going to do that and I'm going to be like looking around and thinking and looking at the inside of my head, so I don't notice that everything's going by really fast. Yeah, so you're just going to have to deal with me going out on tangents and pontificating, Tara. Sorry, everybody's been trying to get my attention in the chat. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. My daughters are outstanding, but they're terrifying as well. Yeah, deal with that. Magdalena and Taryn, what say you? It was a policeman's knock, wasn't it? And that was from the Pisces, who usually jumps, you know, if you cough too loudly, you have to scrape her off the ceiling. Horus Fourth Horseman. YouTube was better before the corporations got involved. I don't know if any of you know, I actually mirror my channel over at Odyssey. I do have a link to it in the description box for all of my videos. Like, I've been trying to persuade people to kind of come off YouTube and go and explore these other video streaming, video platforms that there are out there. And last year, I signed up with Odyssey, and now my entire channel is mirrored over there. I actually thought it was because at some point I was going to say something that was going to get me kicked off YouTube, because I'm quite opinionated about a lot of things, and I've had a lot of things to be opinionated about for the last 2 years. I don't know how I've kept it all in. I'm sure the more astute amongst you will have worked out what I mean by that. I probably noticed me biting my tongue about it in the past either. But anyway, the whole channel is over there. The only thing that isn't on there is live streams, because I think there's a 2-hour limit to what you can put up. So obviously my live streams, which go on for, you know, literally the weeks, are far too long to get in there. So not only that, kitty cat fur babies, Maria, it's not censored like YouTube, which is amazing, but it's also ad free, which is really rather wonderful. Now, I try very hard not to overwhelm you with ads, but at the same time I do need to make a living, so I have this kind of rule where if it's any less than half an hour long, I don't put a video, I don't put an advert in it, but after half an hour it's kind of fair game, you know, but even then I still only put like one in. Do I do Rumble? I do Rumble in so much as I have a Rumble account and I watch other people and listen to stuff on Rumble. I don't put anything personally on Rumble. Wayne, what do you think? Yes, it is an absolute understatement. Honestly, you don't want to get me on one of those tangents because you will literally be here for days. It's the reason why I came off Facebook, you know, because I did have a Facebook account, obviously a personal account, as most people on the planet did at one point. But I also had Scorched Earth was also on Facebook, and I got so fucking sick of shouting very, very loudly and shouting facts very, very loudly and feeling like I was screaming myself hoarse and nobody was listening, and I was like, well, fuck this, and I'm not going to be a fucking commodity anymore for Mark Zuckerberg, thank you very much. So I am gone, and do you know what, I don't miss it at all. It's one of the best things I ever did. Liam McCarville, you are absolutely correct. You Pisces do know how to get attention when your fuses run out. Speaking of which, I suppose I should just better check that I'm not being shouted at. Right. Okay. So Town's written down some questions here. You have 2 sets of human twins. I have had 2 sets of human twins. Yes. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by your gift? No. I get annoyed that I don't know more. I don't feel more, that I can't be more specific. Everything is very felt with me, so I don't get overwhelmed by it. I get irritated by the fact that I've got a very distinct feeling and then I have to feel my way through it for quite a long time before I can put words to it and work out what the fuck it means. Which I understand is quite a vague way of answering your question, but that's pretty much the way that I experience everything. So, how to schedule once you're available to take private readings? I am only taking private readings at this point with people who are in my private community. So that, you know, currently Patreon, but very, very soon Circle, and that is simply because I only have so many hours in the day, and you know, there's only so many readings I can do in a week. And what happened was, as a thank you to my patrons, I would put the scheduler up like 24 hours before I released it to everybody else. But 18 months down the line, my patrons literally take every single slot and there's nothing left. And so now it's just easier to say, well, this is what I do. I just read for them because they always take all of my slots. So why did you choose the name Scorched Earth? Right, this is one of those very layered answers I'm probably going to go on a tangent about. Let's make sure I'm not being shouted at again. Okay, so the first and most obvious reason is because of my sun, moon and ascendant. Right, and it's Leo, Capricorn. Right, so Scorched Earth, a lot of fire. Answer both. Scorched Earth works really, really well. But there was also this kind of idea that it actually comes from a military strategy, right? Scorched Earth is where you destroy, when you're in retreat, you destroy all the weapons, all of your shit, so that the advancing army can't pick up your shit and use it against you. And I thought that from a kind of a figurative sort of perspective, it was very much about, that was very much in keeping with what it was that I did, what I liked using tarot for, and the point of fucking shadow work as well, I think. because in this in this example, the weapons that can be used against you are your own triggers, right? And you're attacking yourself, and you're letting other people attack you, and then you're projecting the shit to everybody else. It just sort of worked for me on lots of levels, and I really, really liked it, because we don't need them. We don't need the weapons, and we don't need the triggers, and we don't need the projection, and we don't need the shadow going around and throttling the shit out of everybody. So that was where it came from. Oh, did I say? Oh, hey, Marion, hello, nice to see you. You've got everyone on mute on Facebook. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I've literally, like, terminally muted Facebook. Nothing doing with it at all. Leah, interestingly enough, Magdalena is also a Scorpio ascendant with a Leo moon. Yes. Can I suggest any good reads about shadow work? It's Kathy Ann. There aren't a lot of them around, to be honest. The thing that I found with shadow work is, I'm probably going to sound awful here, but I'm just going to say it anyway because it's my literal opinion. You either find shadow work coming from the field of psychology, right? And so then it tends to be quite dense, and it's very psychologically driven. Or you have people talking about shadow work from a kind of new age and, frankly, in my opinion, kind of airy-fairy approach to it. And what there wasn't is a kind of bridge between the two. Right? Something that has the intellectual rigor of the psychological understanding of the shadow, and also a nod to the spiritual importance. And I think it's critical. I think it's the highest form of spirituality that there is taking ownership of your own shit and sorting it out so you don't inflict it on other people. Which is what I've done. This is what I've fallen into, at least. Because I was doing shadow work before I even realised that there was a term for it and that other people had done it before, which was kind of cool when I tripped across that. And then discovering Jung, obviously, just being like, wow, this is incredible. And the couple of videos that I did at the end of last year were, I should just look back, the quality is absolutely dreadful. I didn't realise quite how bad it was because the light was really low and stuff like that. But that was my attempt to bridge between the two, make it relatable, make it understandable. But I don't know, I could probably do it better now. I would say that there isn't a bridge book yet. You're right, Marion. It's exactly so. So there is one book that I recommend. I'm trying to think where the fuck it is. It's on it's on the bookcase, one of the bookcases here somewhere. Let's see what it's called. Right, so don't laugh. The author's name is Pixie Lighthorse, and the book is called something the Shadow, something like that. I'm pretty sure if you looked up the author Pixie Lighthorse, you'd be able to come up with the things that they've written. Because she wrote, they, I don't know, wrote another book that was very, very good on boundaries too. And they're very small books, and it's just a chapter to a page, but I thought it was broken down really, really well. It's very accessible for people, and it's not full of tons of some of the psychological jargon that people look at and go, what does that even fucking mean? How do I apply this to my life? It was a really good book. Aside from that, depending on how flexible your mind's feeling, I guess Jung is the way to go. Aeon and oh shit, I've just got a shitload of books by him, and they're all worth reading. But you know, that's kind of leaning towards more the psychology, and then you start getting into animus and anima and all that sort of stuff, and it's all perfectly well understandable, but you may need to sit there and look at particular terms because it's quite, so jargon specific. Okay, so someone said that they're a patron and still can't figure out how to schedule for when you're available. Is an option to schedule that I'm missing? No. So the scheduler that I use is Acuity Scheduler, and it is currently set to private. That's how it is that I can offer the readings to just the patrons. Because what I found was when it was open, that just random people were just booking all the time. So this way works for me better, because it means that when I am open to do readings, I will put the links up and let the patrons book. If you go back through Patreon, I don't know, we're probably going back to May now. I put the links up individually so that people can book through there, but I don't put them up until I am actually ready to take bookings, because I made a mistake once of just putting the scheduler up and letting people book, and I put it up about 11 o'clock at night, and then I closed the laptop and I went to bed. When I got up at 7 a.m. the next morning, I had booked solid for 4.5 months, and I just sat there like, the fuck. The fuck. And it was right at the beginning of lockdown in the UK as well, where the weather was beautiful, and so I sat for hours and hours every single day for 4.5 months, because I'd wildly underestimated, I guess, just how enthusiastic people would have been to book readings. And I've put loads and loads of appointments up, not thinking that for a second that people would book them all, and they did. Then I panicked and I just took the scheduler down again after that. I was like, I can't do any more of that, and it was quite a slog getting through all of that, because it was pretty relentless. Cost of Circle is actually ever so slightly cheaper than it was on Patreon. So there's a support tier, and it's all in dollars at the moment, because they're introducing new currencies, but they don't have them yet. So the support tier is $3. The access to all the extended content and all of the spaces that have been created and will be created over the next few weeks, pending patron feedback. I don't know what we're going to call these circles. Circular feedback. That's $9. And for that you get access to everything. And then I have a high tier, which is $333 a month. But that's more to do with guaranteed personal readings. So I am doing personal readings at the moment, but it's for a very select handful of clients, just because I don't have time to do anything else at the moment. So important. What has this been here? Will the history of Patreon videos transfer to Circle? No, they won't. But they will still do exist on Vimeo. If you and I ran a Zoom with some of our patrons the other night, and somebody else actually asked that same question, and one of the other patrons pointed out that you can actually download them from Vimeo. So within Patreon, because it was embedded using Vimeo, you can actually download it directly from in there. It's something that I'll do something about for people so that they can see it. What's this here? Like your channel, but you stated a while back that you had a blonde moment. From that point on, I stopped watching your channel so much. Well, I apologise if I offended you. I actually have had blonde children, so it's not like I have an issue with blonde people. It is just a saying in the UK, and I spoke too freely with that. I apologise if I offended you, but I really have. It's one of those verbal things that kind of trip out of your mouth sometimes, and it's only when you become aware of it you're like, oh fuck, actually that's not not a cool thing to say. Grew up with a lot of those in my family, which now looking back are absolutely horrific. And I absolutely will not repeat them on this channel. I apologise for upsetting you. Oh, Bugs Bunny, yes, of course, Robert Bly. Little Book on the Human Shadow. That's a wonderful little book. Completely forgot about the existence of that. You're absolutely right. That is a tremendous book. Freya, thank you so much. Do you know, my daughter that died, her name was Freya. So that's kind of like, that's the thing. Gold Mining the Shadows. Yes, thank you, Carol. That is exactly what it's called. I knew it was something, the shadow, and I couldn't remember what it was. Gold Mining the Shadows. Absolutely outstanding book. Very, very good. And again, that author is Pixie Lighthorse. Oh, sex books are back. Lovely. I'm not going to say anything about the Queen. I have opinions about the Queen. I'm not going to share them at this point. Oh God, right. Let's have a look. Oh, Leslie Wetmore, you just lost your Great Pyrenees. I'm so sorry. That's really sad. Oh my God, this absolute wall of text from Magdalena here. Right, let me read this. Yeah, Magdalena's like referring back to River's door impaling episode. Magdalena was actually there and witnessed the aftermath of it. She says, I wasn't even the one that got impaled, and now whenever I hear the twins screaming, even if it's happy screams, I just get filled with so much dread. Understandable. Completely understandable. Right, okay. Big Z, a couple of months ago you uploaded readings a bit late, end of the month, end of the same month almost, and now you're really consistent, always before the beginning of next month. Did something change? I'm just trying to get my shit together, isn't it? I'm kind of all over the place, really, and you know, I was uploading videos and whatnot, but I was also experiencing like quite a dramatic tower in my life. I was being evicted from my old house rather vindictively by my landlord, and I was desperately trying to find somewhere else to live, and I was just trying to juggle a million and one things, because obviously I home educate my children and shit as well, so like, there's loads and loads of things going on, and yeah, I just wasn't very good at keeping a consistent schedule. Now I'm still not very good at keeping a consistent schedule, but I am trying quite hard to do it. I'm trying to force myself into having these things done. And this is one of the reasons why I'm saying there's like absolutely no chance of having a personal reading before at least the 15th of October, because I just need to keep on this thing here. Kaywood, do you know anyone who's really good at reading personal charts? I'm assuming you mean for astrology. I do. I do, but interestingly, she's just decided not to do it anymore. I reached out to her recently, and she's now not doing that. But I do know other people too. I kind of want to get people who are good at other things to come in and talk to people. This is something that I'm actually planning to do. It's one of the aspects of Circle that I really, really like, is the ability, I think, to get people in and run live streams and stuff like that. People who are capable in different modalities. So astrology is a huge one, and is definitely something that will be doing a thing. Magdalena's agreeing with some of the statements that are in here. It's very good. Let's see what Taryn's saying. Important. Right, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm up to date with that. I was so comforting. Oh, that's cool. That's the thing Magdalena agreed with. She said I am very comforting too. I look bright this evening. Do you know what I think it is? I went to the gym this morning for a cheeky little 2-hour double class thing. I think that's probably what's done it. I did an hour's class and then I did sparring afterwards as well. And I haven't sparred in about 2.5 years, so it was. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. It could have gone a lot worse. But I ripped through like 1,000, burnt off like, excuse me, 1,000 calories, and that made me feel good. I really, really enjoy sparring. I wish I could do it more, but I'm now, a considerable distance from the gym. Oh, Alice, is that right? Right, okay. Well, I need to find. So Alice says I can just click on my kids' names and they should be able to be moderators. So now I have to find where they've said something. Taryn, Magdalena, can you just say something in the chat so I can find you, and then I can make you moderators. Yeah, absolutely right, Serena Jasmine, it is. And when you're a fire sign, I think it's like doubly important. You have to do things that make your blood pump. That's how you feel good about yourself. And I love sparring. I love kickboxing altogether. I was doing all sorts of cool kicks that I haven't done in ages. Oh, hello, Taryn. Super. Right. I'm going to see if I can do a thing here. Oh, I won't let me do anything. Nope. No, that's not working. Oh, do you know what it is? It's because I'm running it through the OBS. It's not actually on YouTube. That's why I can't do it. There we go, kids. I need to remember that one for next time. Yeah. It's like a little pop out in OBS Studio, which is great, but yeah, I think it doesn't have that functionality. Oh, Nicole, you got a hurricane coming in. That sounds dramatic. I kind of forget that hurricanes are a thing, that people are like a regular occurrence, you know. Wow. All right, Taryn. I didn't know. I worked out why it didn't work. For heaven's sake. Anyway, Nicole, please do go get ready for the hurricane, and I hope that it's over swiftly and with minimal damage, and that you're all safe. Best of love, best of luck, and love, and all those kind of things. Be well, and I'll see you again another time. Kelly, do you just keep manifesting me? I'm sure. Did you not make a comment? Did you not drop a comment on one of my YouTube videos? You just like, I was hoping you would appear, and then suddenly you're here. So I just feel like I'm being summoned by you. This is cool. Yeah, yeah. So the thing with the mid-months, Kelly, is I don't know. There was a couple of things going on there, right? And the first is that, well, in any given month, I was doing a minimum of 36 videos between YouTube and Vimeo and the mid-months. That was a minimum of 36 videos a month, plus I was doing personal readings on top, plus I was doing everything else, which is, you know, to be found in my drama-filled life all the time. And and I just thought, oh, I could just not do those. And I thought that the mid-months were probably a good one to drop for the time being. Never say never. I'm not saying that I won't go back to doing them at some point, but I needed to create space. So, oh, that's what I wanted to tell you about. I wanted to tell you about Mexico. I might tell you about that, might not. But after I came back from Mexico, it was quite clear that there were some considerable different changes that I needed to make, and particularly with regard to my day-to-day activities. And so the mid-months was the first thing to get canned on account of the fact that I've been doing them for quite a while, and I think I'd made my point. The whole point of them was to try and get people to think about the energy that they were in, and then where it was going, and what the point was of that. At some point, they may well come back, but for now, it seemed like a good time to put them to one side while I focus on other things. So, yeah, I quite enjoyed the mid-months as well. Curious and probably a silly question, but I wanted to ask, what's the benefit of rolling tabs over purchasing the pre-packaged cigarettes? That's I'm going to take it that you're not a smoker by that question. So the first is actually, interestingly enough, health related, in so much as pre-packaged cigarettes are absolutely laced with the most terrible things you could possibly think of. You know, we're sort of told that tobacco smoking is really, really bad for you, as in, you know, what is in cigarettes and stuff like that. But actually, it's what they put in, things like saltpeter and stuff like that, in what we call tailor-made cigarettes. The diabolical, they're really, really bad, and the saltpeter is the thing that stops them from going out when you light them, so it'll literally just burn down forever. But yeah, they're full of really, really horrible things. Smoking just tobacco, while still not ideal, is considerably better for you, and it's fucking cheaper. It's considerably cheaper. I think we're coming up nearly, is it something like 70? I don't know, I don't buy them, so I can't tell you for certain, but I'm sure it's about £17 for a packet of 20 or something like that now, which is ludicrous. Whereas I can buy for £17, I can buy like 30 grams of it, and that'll last me like 4 days, 5 days, something like that. So, and you know, I can roll them a bit skinnier as well, so it's all good. Yeah, Brian stuffed the mid-months. Monthlies are all good. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, and this has happened entirely holistically, it wasn't planned, but as the mid-months have gone, so it's almost like the extendeds have become longer, and it's not compensatory. I haven't done it on purpose. It's just that I think it's given me the mental space to be able to really lean into those readings, and what's coming out is longer, and I'm quite happy about that. I feel like that's the right way round at the moment. So, like I said, they might come back at some point in the future, but for now, I don't have this space, and I don't want to give over what space I have to doing those anymore, I think. Kimberly, you're a cigar smoker. Interesting. Oh, Hamira Lane. Hello. I messaged you days ago. You haven't replied yet. I sent you a message on Patreon. Could you did you find that and reply to me? Because I wanted to get something sorted out with you. What do we have here? Frank. No, you can't. I don't. They grow tobacco, interestingly enough, in the one of the biomes at the Eden Project down in Cornwall. But you can't just grow it around here. I mean, I live in Northumberland as well. Like, it's fucking cold and it's wet. Well, it hasn't been cold this summer. It's actually been incredibly warm this summer. But generally speaking, it's like the county below Scotland. So I'm quite far north. Down in Cornwall and whatnot, they have a much more temperate climate, and they can grow pineapples and things like that down there. I can't grow them up here. Oh, is that right, Marion? Right, okay. Between 10 and 15 quid for a packet of 20 cigarettes, which would last me like no time at all. I just don't like them as much as rollies. There's something about the ritual of rolling too, which is quite that's quite comforting. I quite like it. I can do it with my eyes closed and asleep and all sorts of things. So, oh, hello, Deviate. It's nice to see you. I've seen you for a while. Erica, hello from Nebraska. Kim Kawasaki, will you be doing the 6-month overviews for next year? Yes, actually I am. I was hoping that I would have started them already. This is another one of the reasons why I'm trying to get ahead of myself at the moment. I had wanted, in the vague plan that I had in my head, to have them ready for release at the beginning of October. That now quite plainly is not going to happen. But yes, I want to get them up, and I want to get them up now, with my rehashed plan by the beginning of November. So yeah, keep an eye out for those, because they will be coming. Lisbeth, you're absolutely right. Rolling is meditating. It's a very nice thing indeed. 100% on the rolling. It is a tactile thing. That's exactly it. Fucking hell. What's all these chat box? What's going on in here? Right. Oh, bless you, Juliet. I think I probably look considerably better with makeup, but like, it's one of those things that I never learned how to do. There was just a gap in my teenage years where everybody else was learning how to do makeup, and I had my head in a book. I think I prefer my way, to be honest. I like books. But it does mean, yeah, that rather embarrassingly at the age of 42, I don't know how to do anything with makeup. I'm alright with that. I don't really care. It's fine. Somebody's suggesting if I join the YouTube stream on my phone in my work, except that I use a Huawei, which means I can't get anything up on my phone at all. It's brilliant. I love it, because it means I get no notifications for anything. Which is really good for my nerves, because I've found, like, when my phone was going off all of the time with notifications, like, it was just shredding my fucking nerves. It was giving me fucking anxiety, and I was like, ugh. So then, when the Huawei P40 came out, and they were like, oh, it doesn't work with Google, so half of your apps don't work, and whatever. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have one of those, and do you know what? It's been the best thing for my fucking sanity ever. Now I have a P50, and it's just the same. Like, it's just brilliant. I think it really annoys my children though, because, you know, I don't get Snapchat notifications when they're trying to get hold of me and things like that. So I get like texts saying, look at Snapchat, or look at Discord, or look at something. I'm just wandering around being blissfully quiet. Right, so I'm going to bring it up in the browser. I might be able to do this. Let's have a look. The miracle of technology. Oh, there it is. It's right there. I'm going to turn it down so I don't end up fucking hearing myself, because that will distress the shit out of me. Right. Oh, this is horrible. Right. No, I can't even see the live chat on this one, so I don't know what. No, it's not a thing. Right. What do we have down here? Kimberly, do you know, can you speak of the significance of one's nodal axis? I'm a Sag with North Node in Virgo. That's an interesting combination. So, as someone has said down here, where did I saw it a second ago? What's up there? North Node is, if you believe in it, what your soul purpose is, if I understand it right. Yeah, it's kind of that, and kind of a little bit of something else as well. It is kind of the lessons that you are to learn, right? So it's kind of like stepping into that energy. Have you ever heard me going on about the King of Cups and it being Scorpio, and the Queen of Pentacles being Capricorn, and how that absolutely bakes my noodle for the longest time? Because I was like, well, if you look at what the meanings of those cards actually are, the Queen of Pentacles in no way represents Capricorn energy at all, right? It's all about self-care and nurturing yourself and investing in yourself and all that kind of thing, right? That Capricorns seem to be like violently allergic to. And then Scorpio, King of Cups, is about emotional mastery and being able to, you know, express one's emotions and really feel things. And it's like, well, Scorpio spends all of its time trying to avoid doing exactly that thing. So how is that? And then I had a kind of light bulb moment, and I was like, well, what if that's what they're actually trying to achieve? It's like Libra, right? Everybody thinks that Libra should be really, really balanced about everything all the time, and actually the reality is for Libras, often their life is completely imbalanced, and it is the pursuit of that trait that is part of their purpose, right? So, why am I waffling about this? I've forgotten. Yeah, it's about kind of leaning into that energy and learning things from that. It isn't your sole purpose per se, but it is the things that are set out in front of you that it is required for you to know. So your South Node is that which you have already mastered, that which you have already accomplished. So my North Node's in Leo, got a lot of Leo energy going on. My South Node is in Aquarius. So I have mastered like a lot of that Aquarius kind of energy stuff, and now I have to focus on the other side of the axis to Leo, and so I have to be more of a Leo than I am already, which is vexing to say the least. For you as a Sagittarius, it'll be kind of leaning into what all of the really positive qualities of Virgo are for you, except that it's on your kind of, it's an axis for you. Is that right? Sagittarius, Virgo? No, that's bollocks. No, it's Sagittarius, Gemini. Ignore that, it's completely bollocks. But they're two signs that don't enjoy, I think, each other quite so much. The Sagittarius wants to be free and wants to kind of do its own thing, and like the liberation part is really, really huge for them. Virgo is very sensitive to their environment, so the environment has to be just so, and Sagittarius energy can be quite chaotic for a Virgo, but then Virgo energy can be quite restrictive for a Sagittarius. So in terms of what your North Node represents to you, it would be the mastery of all of the good bits of Virgo, right? So being efficient and being or it's working on your own abundance, right? It's kind of finding a way to not get in your way with stuff. Virgo's very, very good at attention to detail, whereas Sagittarius tends to be really big picture. It's like finding the balance between the two, you know. Yeah, Wayne, like there's something quite comforting, obviously, about the North Node. It is very familiar for me. Like it's in numerology, it's 7 as well. So it's like it's about detachment, and it's about thinking about things a lot. And it's like the Leo aspect of that is like, get yourself out there, be seen, you know, have opinions, be big, and I'm like, raging introvert, thank you, I want to stick with my South Node, thank you very much. Woolly Hermit, exactly, your daughter's Libra and not balanced at all. Part of her maturation process will be getting herself to the place where she can balance herself up, she finds her own equilibrium, and she approaches life in that fashion. To expect people to just be born innately with those things, it would be like, well, where's the lesson, where's the learning taking place, you know? Big Z, do I believe in the one or is it BS? Tangent please. I don't believe in the one, and I think that the one is an incredibly damaging trope, actually. I think there are many ones, and there are many people, you know, many ones who can teach us lots and lots of things. But the reason that I think it's quite damaging is because there is this this idea that you meet a person and, you know, everything's perfect and wonderful, and you're going to spend your lives together, and 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 30, 40 years down the line, that you will have grown and evolved together to the degree that you are still as perfect for each other then as you were 40 years ago. That to me seems like a nonsense, because people grow and evolve and change, and quite often they grow apart. And because there's a lot tied up in the idea of relationship failure, and I take issue with that relationship failure. Oh, we failed, you know, our marriage failed and all that stuff. It's like, no, your marriage went as long as it needed to, and then when you decided that was enough, then the mature thing to do is go, thank you very much for what we have experienced here together, but, you know, it's time for us to go off in opposite directions. I think there's something kind of Disney about the idea of the one that I find quite troublesome, because it's an idealized standard that literally no one can live up to, and we put far too much responsibility on, or far too much expectation on other people to be the one for us, you know, and too much hope in the idea of being the one for someone else. I mean, what does that even mean, the one? You know, like, there's the weight of expectation loaded on that the one is going to be the person that, you know, at the age of 85, 90 years old, you know, this little old couple who just, you know, then die within like 3 days of each other. It doesn't work. It does work for some people, actually. It does work for some people, but as a societal expectation, I think it does more damage than it does anything else. Yeah. So, Marion, I didn't know that. That's mental. The nodes are always retrograde, so that adds a layer of challenge. I've never come across that as a thing. Wow, that's bonkers. I'm going to have to look into that. South node is your comfort zone. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. And so the north node is how you push out of it. Just in case any of you were wondering here, Marion K Tarot has an Instagram account, and she does a lot on tarot and astrology. She's very smart with these things. You should go and follow her on Instagram, and she'll probably do good things with your chart for you as well, if you wanted to know. Hello Charlie, nice to have you here. Virgo Sun, Libra Rising, Capricorn Moon. Kanika Morales, it's 3:38 a.m. here. What are you doing up at this time? Please tell me you've been out partying and having a great time, and now you're just like with a blanket on the sofa and just, you know, calming down. Oh fuck, the chat just updated. Homera, right, yeah, I'll copy and paste the message that I sent you a few days ago on Patreon. I'll send it to your email instead, if that's not come through to you. There's been a bit of Patreon fuckery, to be honest, involving messages. It's a nightmare, but yes, I will email you tomorrow with the thing. Marineka, that is really kind of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I don't quite know what to do with my face when people tell me things like that, and I don't really know how it happened, to be honest. Good lord. Hello Ian Sullivan. Can you see my cat? You can see my cat. Come on then. Come on in. Yeah. Usually she only makes this kind of fuss when she's when she's caught something. Taryn, look at your cat. She's shouting at everyone. The window's open. You can come in if you want. Come on then. Look. Anyway. Oh, don't even get me started on twin flames. Like, twin flames are 100% a thing. But there's a lot of bullshit on the internet about what twin flames are, and it rags my shit dramatically. As someone who's had a twin flame relationship and would not wish one on my worst enemy. Oh, that's not quite true. I mean, I was a catalyst for a lot of things. I was just waiting to see if I was going to get my door kicked in again, but she's just going downstairs apparently. there's a lot of bullshit, and there's a lot of people trying to make money off people who are desperately trying to, get back together with their twin flame, and that's just not how it works. Wait, just don't even get me started on that. Blue Star Energy Tarot. It is statistically improbable, but yeah, it is. Oh, Marion, you're excellent at everything that you do. You should absolutely have a shout out. You should all go for it. Follow Marion. Toot sweet. Oh, yes, you saw Yin. Yeah, she's gone now. Sorry, Taryn. She'll be back. Sonia, you're off. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. I very much appreciate it. Oh, Jeff, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's really sad. How are you coping? I do believe in twin flames. Like I said, I've had a twin flame relationship, but there's a very specific purpose for a twin flame relationship. Like I don't believe that twin flame union is something that can happen in this plane, in this incarnation. I think a union is when those two sides of the soul, these two halves of the soul, come back to be one, right? Up until that point, what they're designed to do is be your mirror. They're designed to trigger the shit out of you so that you grow, be the catalyst for it. But I've seen fucking websites that are offering to put you through some sort of fucking training course to get you into twin flame union faster. It's bullshit, and it's preying on people who are desperate, and I absolutely loathe it because it's missing the fucking point, and somebody's getting rich off the back of your misery. So that's really sad. I don't like it. Yeah, Marion, that's also a good point. Although I've seen plenty of legitimate twin flames doing like my work. But trauma bonds are a huge part of it. Yeah, there you go, Melissa. That's exactly what I don't know if there's a true definition as such. I don't know where you would go to look for it, but certainly in my experience, in looking at things the way that I do, it makes perfect sense that union would not occur on this plane. If the whole point of it is to trigger you into growth, I'm sorry you don't get the happy ending of being with that person. Like, you've got things to do. Both of you got things to do. Well, that point of union, when it happens, when you shimmer out of existence, then that'll all be very nice. But you need to level up faster, and that's why the soul splits in two. So I understand, at least. Anyway, thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate that. It's really generous of you. Michelle Buck. We've got another home educating mum there. Awesome. Oh, you're in Scotland. Sweet. Found you just before your move. Now in your position, keeping my faith, we find somewhere new. I think it's intolerable that landlords can do this. I really do. Like, I literally just spoke to a friend of mine last night, and she and her partner and their 3 children are in exactly the same position that I was in a year ago now. And I thought that the government had brought in no fault, like the removal of no fault evictions. I thought that was a thing now, because I thought I'd just missed it, and apparently not. It's not likely to come in before next year, which is ridiculous. It's scandalous in this day and age that you cannot have security in your own house. Oh. Unless it's that thing, people on YouTube offering to help folks ascend for I imagine a tasty fee. That's despicable. We should not judge. I think that's terrible. So just honest opinion, I think it's really, really bad. I think that's the kind of thing that gives spiritual workers a really bad name. And there are many many that I know who are completely legit, who are doing this full time as a job, and they are really good at what they do, and they help people, you know. And then there's a metric fuckton who are just skimming off the top of people who are in need, and that's really crap. I don't like that. Gabrielle, I do spell work, but I only do it personally. I don't do it to order. Don't do it for people. Jeff, I'm sorry. I'm really glad that you're here. You're amongst friends. Can I ask what your mother's name was? Because I would just like to light a little candle for your mother, with your permission, if that's okay. I might pull one out of here. Absolutely correct, Freya. The spiritual world it's replete with posers with their clickbait. And okay, apparently we just briefly lost connection, but we're back again. That's good. There were people cloning my account on Instagram. Well, it still happens periodically, and getting people to hand over money. And these are people who are in vulnerable situations, and they're handing over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds because they're desperate, you know, because they feel powerless. I take my position very seriously. This is a huge responsibility to sit with people in their vulnerabilities, in their issues. It's a privilege and an honour, actually, as much as anything else, but it's something that I take deeply, deeply seriously. And then to see these absolute con artists just sliding in and defrauding people of their cash makes me furious. Where's the notification that somebody's left a shitty comment on one of my videos? Why bother? I don't understand. Whatever. If you don't enjoy it, move on. Nobody's forcing you to be here. That's fine. Was it twin flame is I think is a subcategory of soulmate. But I feel like these terms get bandied around very free and very loosely, with very little consideration of what that might actually mean. Right? So the whole twin flame thing became really, really popular all of a sudden for no reason that I could possibly fucking work out at all. And I remember being at a spiritual evening once, and there was a woman who was doing some channeling. It was very, very cool, and she was taking questions from people, and 3 of the women present asked when they were going to meet their twin flame, in a really excited way, and I just was like, God, I hope never that will happen to you, because it's excoriating. It's a deeply unpleasant experience. But yeah, like I said, the term seems to be used interchangeably with soulmate, and even that, do people really understand what soulmate is? It makes me think possibly not. Chelsea, you've been a circus artist in the US for 14 years. Considering a career change, I'd like to do online astro, tarot, palm readings. Any advice for getting started online? When I started, I mentioned this before, I didn't really want to start the channel. I was kind of forced into it by my late husband, I think, just pushing me. I talked myself into it by way of the fact that I didn't think anybody would watch the videos. So then it was just going to act as practice reading for people. That's literally what I started doing, and the mindset that was with it. Now, obviously, people did watch the videos, and that's a whole different story, but my initial idea was that YouTube would act as an advertising platform for me to do personal readings IRL with just people in the area and things like that. I put a stop to that pretty quickly. I had a few clients come to the house, and that was okay. That was fine. They were all female as well, so it was all right. But then I went to somebody's house, and I was deeply uncomfortable the whole time that I was there. And instead of concentrating on the reading, all I could think of was the fact that I'd come out here to do this reading and nobody knew where I was. I hadn't left an address or anything like that, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to do it all online instead. So I used Google Hangouts and stuff like that for a bit, and then somebody told me about Zoom, and it was literally just before everybody knew what Zoom was, because it was before the lockdown and things like that. And it was great. I have to say, like, YouTube has been very, very good. It was very good for me. The algorithm's quite friendly, I think, to new starters. Like, new channels get a bit of a leg up. And, well, that's what I'm putting down my success, hitherto to, because I hit monetization in like 4.5 months or something like that, which is really great. Like, obviously nothing on the scale of like Ali's Tarot, who I think started at the same time I did, and now it's literally just taking over the world at this point, I think. But it was good enough. And by the time I actually decided that I was going to do this full time, I lost my job because the pub that I was working at shut down and things like that. And I just made a split-second decision that I was going to do this full time. I kind of figured that I needed three clients a week, and then I was okay. No, I could work with that, and I actually haven't had to look for clients since then. I think you're starting at a really good time. I think those people who are coming to the subject with clean hands, like, so, I've got did undergrad and postgrad law, and one of the things that you study in undergrad law is a topic called equity. It's a particular branch of the law, and there's a lot of maxims that work as kind of like legal principles within that. And one of them is those who come to equity must come with clean hands, and I feel like it's a really good way of describing how I feel people should approach spiritual work. I think if you're doing it and you're doing it for the right reasons and you want to help people, I think the clients just come to you. I think they just find you, and you're at quite a good point to be starting to do this work now, because there is such a fucking need for it now. And it's going to increase, particularly over the next year, I think, is people need help. People are... I make no secret of the fact that I think that we're living through the apocalypse at the moment. And remember that the apocalypse simply means the unveiling. I think there's a lot being unveiled. And I think there are a lot of people that need assistance in the processing of that, whether it is by physical healing, mental healing, spiritual healing. Definitely a lot of spiritual healing. There's much work to be done for spiritual people who hear the call and feel drawn to do this thing. I think you don't need any advice. I think you just need to do it. Because I've had friends who wanted to set up YouTube channels, actually before I even did this one, and what they did was procrastinate with it. So I can't do anything until I've got a tripod. I can't do anything until I've got a little clicker thing, and I did that a little bit myself too. And then I thought, what am I doing? Just fucking do it. Just do it. People will come and find you. Let me scroll back up here. Oh, fuck. I realised a few weeks ago I now start my conversations with "I hope you're well." I do. Genuinely hope you're all well. That's excellent. Oh, Freya, it was really wonderful that you came in. Thank you so much for coming and saying hello. I really, really do appreciate it. Marineko, do you have a specific methodology or philosophy to your readings? For example, some people do very Jungian focused reads. I think it would be an absolute mistake to discount the influence of Jung on my readings, but to date, like, I don't impose a philosophy on anything that if I have a philosophy, bearing in mind, again, I'm going to say it again, like, I was doing shadow work before I realised that there was a name for it, and that, you know, some other dude kind of really pioneered this. And the more I learn about things anyway, I feel like culturally, most indigenous cultures have some sort of practice that pays homage to an idea of there being a shadow, whether it's sort of, I don't know, shamanic soul retrieval or something like that, you know, where the shadow takes over. It's almost like a kind of splintering of self, and the whole idea is to bring yourself back together. And so it is with the shamanism as well. I'm probably deeply simplifying that, but you know what I mean. I don't think it's a particular philosophy. I think it's something that's common to the human experience. So I tend to look at everything through the lens of my own experience, as you would expect. And my own experience is a path of healing by looking at all the shitty stuff and then making sense of it. And then, you know, everything else that comes with that. And obviously, you know, there's a Jungian influence on it, but like I said, I think it's something that actually runs much, much deeper than that. Like, I do believe we're sitting at the level of the collective unconscious when we're doing this kind of work. So, but I do love philosophy, very much. And I don't know if I have a personal philosophy as such, because it's constantly evolving. I think if I were to state outright that I had a personal philosophy, that would give it a kind of rigidity that I don't think necessarily correctly reflects how I experience anything at all. I don't know if that's answering your question, but yeah. Hello, Heather. Hello, everyone from Arizona, USA, and Scorched Earth. You are my favourite tarot reading counsellor. You are very welcome, and thank you for being here on this channel with me. You are very appreciated. I love it when you're all talking to each other. It's really excellent, although it does make it a little more difficult to navigate what's going on here. Carmen. Scorpios always love the shadowy side of things. That's like a wild overstatement, but you know, I mean, there's a predisposition to it. Yeah, Sarah, like, I have opinions on that as well, but I'm not going to share them at that point, Sarah. It's just not going there with that. What did it say here? Christy, you're happy to see people being more open. We're going through a shift, and although things can seem quite dark and difficult, people are becoming more and more aware and open for expansion. Yeah, I think there's a huge collective awakening going on at the moment, and I think that it could only have happened in the circumstances that we find ourselves in now. Like, people have really needed to be pushed to the fucking wall, and we're there, you know. Things are difficult, but things will improve, because they will. Because you can't face shadowy stuff without processing it. And things always get better when you process them. Question, if you can clarify, how relevant are rising and moon sign readings? I've always wanted to ask you that. Well, if you listen to astrologers, actually your rising sign is the most important. For some reason that I've never quite worked out. Marion might be able to answer that question better than I. So, what's her name? Heather with Astrology. Astrology with Heather. There we go. Back to front. She says you should watch Rising, then Sun, then Moon, and that your Moon would be a subjective a more subjective angle, I think, something like that. But I mean, remember that your birth chart generally, like, you're looking at 9 placements or 12 placements, right? Depending on how deep you're going with your birth chart. Like your sun sign is literally like 1/9, 1/12 or something of a blueprint that makes you up there, that is then affected by things like fucking sextiles and squares and all that sort of thing, you know, whatever was going on at the point of your birth. I think your moon and rising are quite important, but I think that they get highlighted at different points in your life. So although I always quite enjoyed the fact that I was a Leo, I always thought I was a kind of shit Leo, until I found out that my rising sign was Capricorn, and then I realised that actually for most of my life I'd resonated with being a Capricorn much more than being a Leo, and that was why it felt, why there was a friction there between the two. This is like, okay, I'm a deeply introverted Leo who doesn't like to be the centre of attention ever. Actually, like, triggers the shit out of me to be like that. There's a lot about my personality that is much more like Capricorn, and certainly at the point where I was like, you know, gunning through university and all that sort of thing, with a horde of children in tow, absolutely focused on this, you know, getting my degree and then getting the career that I wanted. I was much more Capricorn-like than Leo. But since my brain injury in 2017, I feel like I've been rediscovering the Leo-ness, and hopefully I'm kind of leaning into the Leo more now than the Capricorn. Anagya, I hope I've said your name right. What are your thoughts about marijuana and spiritual health? Like, do you think it affects one's spiritual health? I'm not quite sure how I feel about it either way, to be honest. I don't really partake because I have a cripplingly low tolerance, and I just go to sleep, and that to me does not feel like a useful, that sound like a Capricorn now, that's not an efficient use of my time at all. I do know people who use it to great effect, actually. It works very well for them, but then I've known other people, I've seen them just sort of spiral down into making their life a giant nothing burger of just smoking joints and, you know, scratching their ass, really. I think it's less about the marijuana and more about the person who's utilising it and what they're utilising it for. Yeah. I hope that answers your question. Oh, hey, Jean. You're there. Nice to see you. Oh, fuck. The whole thing just... So the chat just updates and then it just, like, jumps. I don't know how much I've missed here, so bear in mind now. Bear with me a second, I have to scroll. So... yeah, no, I've seen that bit. Good. That's interesting there. Elizabeth Studebaker says, my astrologer bestie tells me our rising sign is who we are becoming as we learn and grow. My experience has been completely the opposite of that. In so much that, like, I think I started off as a big round ball of energy, as Robert Bly said in the Little Book of the Shadow, being a little Leo child. And I think my experiences made me lean really hard into my rising sign. So, like, most of my life was more rising sign than sun sign. Which would make sense if you consider that I have a Leo North Node too. Wow. That's just my 2 pennies worth. I don't really know for certain, but Sael. I think it's it makes me really sad when I come across tarot readers who bash particular signs. There was God, who was it? There was one that I used to watch, like, back in the day, like back in 2018 or something like that. He had a real fucking thing about Leos, and it was just nasty. And I watched a couple of hers, Well, maybe it was just this one. Maybe she had a bad day or something like that, but she seemed to really, really despise Leos, and it really came across, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch that anymore, because that just makes me feel shit about myself. Okay. Yeah. So as Marion says, rising or ascendant sign is where the astrology chart begins with how the outside world sees you, and then the moon sign is how you behave emotionally. The sun sign is who you are at the core. What I was saying about like different parts of those being activated at different times, I mean, this is just my personal experience, and I don't know if this is true across the board, but there are times where I feel like my Capricorn ascendant is in charge, but then there's times where that shifts, and my Mars is in Libra. So I tend to like do this quite a lot with important things. But then my Venus is in Cancer, and I fucking hate that placement. I used to really hate that placement, but it is the one that's taught me the most. Now, in terms of watching videos for those particular placements, I think it's quite a useful thing if your sun sign's not resonating with you to go and have a look at those other ones, because it could be that this is the part of your chart that's actually doing something important at this point, and and you might well find that you get something out of that you're not getting out of your sun sign readings. That's my opinion of it anyway. I think there are some really exceptional tarot channels on YouTube. There are a few. My absolute favourite tarot reader ever isn't even on YouTube anymore. She moved over to Odyssey, which I actually only discovered like this year or end of last year, something like that. Aquarian Insight, like she just disappeared off YouTube, and I didn't know where she went. And then when I started looking at Odyssey and realised that I could mirror my channel over there, I did that, and then I spent more time on Odyssey than... I don't actually spend a lot of time on YouTube because the algorithm really pisses me off. There are things that I like to watch, but the algorithm starts throwing more of the same thing that I've already been looking at. I'm like, no, I want to look at a variety of different things, and it's just really difficult to find what I wanted to watch. So I started to watch Odyssey a lot more, and then I tripped over Aquarian Insight, and there she was on Odyssey, and I was like, this is brilliant. I got fangirled really hard. I love her. She is brilliant. And there's a few that I would really rate. But a lot of the tarot readers come at tarot from a different perspective to me, and so the relevance for me isn't really there as much. I don't really care what's happening to me next week. Like, I don't really care if there's some handsome chap galloping on a horse towards me. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I want to work out what's going on in my head and in my heart and in my soul right now. And so that's the way that I read for me. It's the way that I read for you. That's what I do. But it does mean that I don't watch that many anymore. Simon says, don't be sad, we're still here. I have to go and have a wee in a minute though. Oh fuck, I just hate it when it does that. Just fucking, I see flinch. Updates. Hey Scott, nice to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Beale, I don't think it's ever missed a live stream that I've done, ever. It's like 100% attendance. It's very cool. Oh shit, I've missed loads. Right, there we go. Jade wants to know if I'll be doing videos or a course on how to interpret each card and different interpretations from your opinion. Yes, that is, it's on my list of things to do, but I have to be honest, it's been on my list of things to do for about 2 years. I have a notebook that is full of things that I scribble down periodically. But let's go back to this analogy of like driving a car. Yeah. So you do your driving lessons and stuff, and then you do your test, and that's it. Like, yay, you passed your test, and now you're allowed to drive on your own. But really all the test is showing a certain amount of proficiency in making a calm move. And I think the act of driving, where you gain all the experience and stuff, that comes afterwards. And so it is with tarot also. You know, the bit where the magic really happens is when you kind of let go. That's the best way to describe it. You just sort of let go. And then shit just comes out, you know? Because ultimately the tarot is just a springboard for your intuition. It's it. Like, there's no inherent magic in a deck of cards. The magic is the interaction. Okay, that's the word I was talking about. The interaction between your intuition and what is sparking from the card in front of you. You know? So yes, I will do it at some point, but it's going to be huge. This is the problem. Like, and I do know from my time teaching kickboxing that when you teach, you want to teach everybody to do like all the cool things immediately, but you got to do all the basics first. It's just that whole like grinding, all the meanings and whatnot. And you start off with a jab and a cross and a hook and maybe a kick if you're doing really, really well. And you don't cram all of the knowledge that you've got about kickboxing into the head of a person on their first day. That would be really, really terrible. So what I'm wandering around to is the fact that I need to find a way to cut this down so that it isn't a degree course in fucking tarot, because that would be literally ridiculous. Something that is accessible and yet also good, because obviously I can't do it if it's going to be shit. That would be a terrible thing to do. I wouldn't do that to you all. But it also means that I need to fight my own perfectionist tendencies to do that. Erica Spradlin says, I used to watch reads for others, but that can be devastating. Yeah, it could be a real fucking kick in the shins. I've done it at points before as well. Yeah, I'm not going to judge anybody who does it, because like I said, I've done it myself, but that can be quite uncomfortable at times. Am I dissociating or adding a chill vibe? I think I'm just chill. I think I'm not aware of the fact that I'm dissociating. Magdalena, am I dissociating? I don't think so. I think I just sort of found my zone. No. Let's have a look and see if Magdalena has anything to say. Oh, she's talking about yin. Right, okay, right, the cat. I wasn't sure what she was on about, but yes. Fuck. Dropping shit. I just broke something, I think. Right, see. Yeah, no, that's good. Well, my daughters have stopped shouting at me. This is excellent. They've probably got bored and wandered off, actually, to be fair. Brian Hurley, I have to say, I really don't know much about Eastern astrology. I mean, hands up, I don't know much about Western astrology either. I am not an astrologer. Everything I know about astrology, I taught myself in one evening over a New Year's Eve about 3 years ago. 3, 4? Some years ago, at least. I just sat with my birth chart and then just did a deep dive because I had nothing else to do. I thought I really need to learn what all of this stuff means, and yeah, so I did that a bit, but I certainly wouldn't say that I have any particular talent in that area at all, and I know next to nothing about Eastern astrology. I think I was annoyed when I found out that I would be a Cancer under a different type of astrology, and that just didn't fit at all. I didn't like that. And after, I think I lost immediate interest in it. There's a whole conversation on here I'm following. Oh, what's up? That's really interesting. You're a Leo rising, Capricorn Sun, Leo North Node, and you were a Leo your whole life, and now you're more of a Capricorn. Maybe there's a thing about that. Like, that's certainly been my experience, at least, anyway. Oh, Jennifer says here, I always like that you've got Taurus's back. A lot of readers dislike us. I can't you see, I can't understand that. But then I had a very difficult relationship with Taurus for a very long time. You know about that. I've told you about that before. And getting on the channel and actually having to read for Taurus and looking at things from Taurus's perspective, really, getting on that journey with you was incredibly healing for me. It was huge. And I realised that I'd only really been exposed to the toxic Taurus traits up until that point. And now, like, I think Tauruses are fucking magnificent. I just love Tauruses. How could anybody hate you? It's terrible. What do we have here? Marineka, you just found out you're a Pisces moon. Yeah, that's going to do it. Do it all day long. Do you know, I had an ex who was a fire sign, sun sign, and I did his chart for him. He had 9 placements in Pisces. 9. We didn't last very long. That was not a good match. Right. I've watched a couple of Pam Gregory's videos. I don't think I have the attention span for them. I don't know. I kind of dip in and out. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of tarot. There's a couple of astrology ones that I look for and that I watch, but then I haven't really done that. I do it periodically, not consistently. You know. Oh fuck! This again. Venus in Cancer is less gullible than Venus in Pisces, even though she's exalted there. My Venus in Cancer has been a source of tremendous pain for me in my life. And it's something that I battle with quite a lot already. Like, that predisposition towards codependency is fucking real. That I find very, very uncomfortable, but it's given me a lot to work with, and so now I'm less inclined to hiss about it and more like, right, okay, let's sit down with this. What does this actually mean, you know? Letting go is the secret to life, art and everything, Wayne. I completely agree. Hello, Cappy71. H. Nice to have you here. Hey Kim, nice to see you too. I was following this. Lynette, you wanted a Greek? Of course you do. Lynette, you could probably write one, to be honest. Taurus Sun, Leo Moon, Sagittarius Ascendant. That's cool. See you later, Cherie. Good luck with the hurricane shit. Oh, Taryn, you're still here. You just zoned out. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not boring the living crap out of you. I'm sure I probably am. Hello, Lord Scorpio. Oh, Alice, don't tell her that. She'll, no. She won't have it. Donna, does Gracie have a massive attitude in a small body? That's Taryn. Best attitude ever, but she's fierce for someone so small. Marion, how have you pulled that shit off? How are you still a Taurus sun in Vedic astrology? That's I'm envious. I feel like Leo permeates my very bones. I should be Leo in everything, but apparently I'm not. She's gutted about that. Oh, fuck me. It's done it again. I was sorry to hear your life's been imploding, Simon says. I've been told I'm very calming. A lot of people in real life tell me that all the time, and I quite like that. It's a good thing. I don't know how I do it. I don't do it on purpose. It's just a thing. Although I'm going to share a story about you, Taryn, that I probably haven't even told you. Taryn, I used to read her stories, but she used to get too excited about the content of the stories, and she'd fizz around a little bit too much because she was a little sad. But I found that if I read her stories in a different language, she just chilled out because she had no idea what the words were. She had no idea about the story. She was just listening to my voice. So I had a load of children's fairy stories in French, and I used to read her those. She won't remember that at all, but I used to do that, and she used to just go to sleep. It was brilliant. Oh, thank you, Blue Star Energy. That's really, really kind of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. What's this? Because you are a chosen bull. You are, Marion, and I am deeply, deeply proud to be able to call you my friend. Ascendant Gemini, Sun Scorpio. Whew. Ooh. Got your work cut out for you there. Nina, yes, I do readings on current events. I've been deeply uncomfortable with what I see. Because, so what happens is, I get a feeling, and feelings can be quite complex and multi-layered, and there's a whole sifting process that I have to go through to work out what exactly this feeling relates to. Like, is it my personal relationships? Is it my children? Is it something to do with my, environment? Is it something on the world stage? So I go through that whole kind of sifting process, and then I'm like, right, so I've got a feeling, like, what do I do with this? And then I have a conversation with the cards. That's what happens there, because I've always used the cards to order my thoughts, and I find it quite useful. Do I want to share anything? Probably going to get demonetized if I do that, if I'm honest. So probably not. I would imagine that this is going to come up quite heavily in the 6-month overviews that I do for 2023, for the first half of 2023. But I would get your money out of banks. I would make sure you've got some food. I would pull your fucking kids out of school if you haven't done it already. I would do those kind of things. I think that probably gives you enough of an idea about what I think is going on at the moment. Atlas, you love that brass rabbit on my windowsill. That's my moon gazing hair. I bought this from clicking things. I bought this from a little witchy shop in Boscastle in Cornwall, because I really wanted a moon gazing hair, and I actually flitted between two shops about 3 times, because one had a really, really big one, and then one had this one, and I went with this one in the end. And I really like it. It sits, and the moon actually does track across here, so it does actually get to gaze at the moon. It's really nice. I like it. Yeah, Marion, I'm really excited about the conference. I'm really excited to see you. I'm really excited to hang out with everyone and learn cool things. This is very exciting to me. Wayne, yes, money out of banks. 100% money out of banks. Kerry, it's going to be worldwide. Yeah, Don't take me down this road, because I am probably going to say something that's going to get my fucking life demonetized. Like, the dollar's about to disappear. Gone. Poof. It's the world reserve currency. If you don't think that's going to affect everybody on the planet, then, you know, it's a thing. Kimberly, I've heard that credit unions are better than banks. I have heard that. I have to say, I haven't got a credit union account, so I can't say for certain. But I just think that the extent to which this will affect everything means that I think even if you have your money in a credit union, it might not necessarily be doing you any good. You know, you should all absolutely be using fucking cash as well, because CBDCs, that is a dark, dark fucking road down there. Let's not go down there. Use cash at every single possible opportunity. And if people, you know, businesses that you're dealing with are saying that they're not going to use cash, then I would take your cash elsewhere, personally. You're right, Erica, self-preservation is extremely important. And I have to say, you know, there's only so much thing you can do to prepare. There's only so much food you can hold. There's only so much water. There's only so much, you know, everything. You should be concentrating on growing your own food. You should absolutely do that. And this is something I've done this year. I've done a shitload. I've got broccoli and leeks and onions and all sorts of things in the garden. I've got some beautiful cabbages that are ready to come up. But a huge part of that is spiritual. It's spiritual and mental preparation for the hardships and the adversities that are coming. Because I think when you are right with you, you know, when you are coming from a position of integration and self-ownership, and you're not coming from a place of fear, you're much less easy to push around. And I mean that whole fucking heartedly. If the entire world had done some shadow work, the last 2.5 years would not have fucking happened. I've seen some... Yeah, let's not even go there. Like, that's my honest opinion. Victory gardens, absolutely. Everybody should have a victory garden. Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, supermarkets haven't existed for very long. Like, everybody used to grow their own food, you know, raise their own meat and whatever. Obviously, I don't eat meat. My dogs eat meat though. The extent to what's coming means we'd be better storing up and stocking up on dry goods and planning ahead. Well, yeah, but you remember that your stocks and your stores are really only to get you through a bump until you get your garden up and running. Like, supply chains have collapsed everywhere. I don't know if you're looking around your supermarkets and seeing all of the things that are missing. I've been paying very close attention for a long time now. And there's stuff's disappearing. It's disappearing everywhere. And you can't stock up on enough stuff to keep you going for 5 years, not unless you live in a mansion. I mean, I can't do that, at least. Get in what you can, but start growing anything. Anything at all. Definitely stock up on pet food, because there's a massive shortage of that at the moment. And that's just going to get worse, too. I haven't got any firearms, JW. Can't have them in this country. Got a crossbow though. Yeah, Lindsay, exactly right. Less easy to push around. You know, when you are willing to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself and question things that are palpably wrong. I don't know, that feels to me like living an authentic life, one that you are in charge of. You know, personal sovereignty, personal autonomy, these are very, very important to me. Like, literally, they're right at the core of my fucking being, and seeing those violated is probably about the only thing that really angers me. Like, what anger I have left in me, it's probably for that. Hello, Lisa Shot from Texas. Yeah, Donna, quite right. The election's going to be... the election's kind of keeping everything off the boil at the moment, but... I mean, prices have skyrocketed anyway. They're saying inflation's at something like 10% in the UK. It's bullshit. I have receipts going back 2-3 years. I tell you the cost of food is 50% plus more than it is now, if you can get hold of it at all. And there are certain things that have disappeared from the shops in the last year that I've noticed. Kerry Cunningham, yes, I do online private readings, but I only do them for people who are in my private community at the moment. I have actually talked about that quite a bit already, and I'm not doing them at least for the next few weeks anyway, because I've got a lot of stuff on. Off to Bulgaria with the kiddies for a week. I've got some stuff to do over there, and then I come back, and literally the next day, like 12 hours later, I am choosing to go to the Tarot Conference in London. So yeah, Lindsay, like it was a huge thing for me. It was finding somewhere that had enough land to grow some stuff. I just had a tiny little patch of concrete at the back of the old house, and I actually grew quite a lot of stuff. I grew tomatoes and peppers and green stuff and things like that, but it actually only caught the sun for like 3 hours a day, if that, and it wasn't enough. Here I've got a lot more space, and my partner and my daughter, actually my little daughter River, together they knocked up some raised beds, and they've been brilliant. Well, I've grown some canny stuff, but also, you know, it's been a good opportunity to make some mistakes and work out what I need to do differently next time, and that is vitally important, because everybody thinks growing shit's really easy, and you know, it's not. I fucking lost 3 beds worth of purple sprouting broccoli because I didn't net it up fast enough, and the cabbage white butterflies came in and laid eggs everywhere where I wasn't looking, and it decimated it. I literally just had skeletons of plants. Weird thing is, they're actually starting to grow back now. I might actually get some broccoli off them. I was just going to dig them over and just let it all rot down, but I just left it because I've been really, really busy, and they've sprouted again, so who knows, I might actually get some broccoli. JW, yeah, that's what I was saying. I've got 3 crossbows. Not only that, I taught my children how to use them. Yeah, Donna, my dogs only eat raw food as well. And it is getting difficult to get. I've got, I don't know, 75 kilos of kibble in my back room. I think something, but there's 3 of them, you know, they're going through quite a rate of knots. Folks have hit desperation. It's eye-opening. Yeah, you're right, Wayne Peak. Like the Pluto return was a big thing, and I was whittering on about this a lot. I was telling people, and I was stunned how many people didn't know about it. But you know, I think what's happening is exactly what we associate with Pluto return. Right? It's the fall of civilization, and that's okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that everything is terrible and fucked and awful all the time. I mean, there's some pretty awful things going on, but Pluto is about creation and destruction. You know, death is about endings and beginnings. I think we have, if we can all do it together, if we can hit that bar of collective unconscious, we're literally raising it, you know. So this is the thing, right? With the collective unconscious, when you're dealing with that, right, it's always about the lowest common denominator. And the lowest common denominator is pretty fucking low at the moment. And what I feel like, and I feel like the spiritual community has a huge part to play in this. I feel like we're doing it. It's like literally getting our hands under it. Like, nah, we're moving the bar up here now. This now is going to be the place where the lowest common denominator sits, and it's going to be much, much better than where we are right now, you know. And certainly I feel that the sort of stuff that I do, and the sort of stuff that Marion does, and the sort of stuff that, you know, all of these people who are kind of contributing to this mass healing that I think that's what we're here for, is this mass healing, is doing exactly that, right? And what's happening here with the fall of everything that is old and new, it's a long protracted tower moment. And when the dust has settled, we can create something much, much better from a much higher position of positioning of collective unconscious. Sorry to go off topics, but can you please do weekly readings? Not without cloning myself, I'm afraid, is the honest answer. I simply do not have the time. Like, I home educate my kids. Like I said, grow my own food, a lot of it. I cook a lot. I really enjoy cooking. I'm actually a pretty shit hot cook. I have my work, and my work just takes up everything, like literally everything. And then there are a few other major fucking life-changing things that I'm working on in the background as well, and that needs a considerable amount of effort if I'm going to pull it off. I don't know if I am going to pull it off, but I'm trying. So, but I'm not going to give you any details of that yet, because I've got my fingers in a lot of pies for potential life directions, let's put it that way. And I'm trying to. I simply do not have the time. I did actually do weeklies. Was it last year? I did it for about 6 weeks, 8 weeks or something like that, and it was too much. It was too much. I can't do it. Not with everything else that I have to do. I can't do it. If I could clone myself, then yes, I would do that. Oh, James Revening, thank you very much. That's really kind of you. Oh wow. I'm really humbled that I was able to help you. And that I'm sorry that things were really hard, but I hope that things are much better now for you. I appreciate your your super chat. Thank you so much. Levity. I've come across that username before. I remember you from a different live stream. Can't tell you which one, but that's a really distinctive handle. Do you do any kind of global situational readings on Circle? Not currently, but like I said, I'm going to do 6-month overview for the first half of 2023, and I always start off the 6-month overviews with a kind of overview of what is going on, like the framework within which your life is occurring, right? So it's the broader spectrum of stuff, and that shit tends to come up in those. Scott, you actually did. There's a global shortage of coffee already. Did you not know that? You should totally be stocking up on coffee if that's your thing. I would advise. Yeah, I would totally love 7 clones. I like the one that dances all day. I would like that too. Thank you, James. It's really humbling that you said that, and I feel that you mean it. Yeah, Melissa Conrad, you'd like to plug Marion Kay? I have also plugged Marion Kay several times this evening, but we need more plugging. If you're not watching her start, you should. She's very, very capable, very excellent Taurus. Very, very good at all sorts of things. In fact, Marion, I happen to know, has a lot of projects on the go that will be coming to fruition very soon, and you should definitely get involved with those, because it will be excellent. Alright, I think I'm going to correct you on that. Right, nobody currently uses the gold standard, but China and Russia announced a few weeks ago that they were using, that they were pretty much set up to use a gold standard for something. I seem to recall that. Interesting thing. I don't know if there's a dude that I do watch. Do I watch him on YouTube or watch him on Odyssey? I can't remember. He's called Southern Prepper One, and he does a thing called Boots on the Ground, which is like a daily kind of check-in with emails that he's received from people who are reporting about the situation as is in their area. And one of the reports that he did in the last week was someone who worked for a smelting place, and they said all of the silver is being sent to China at this point, right? They're not doing any in the States anywhere now. It's being sent over to China too, which I think is quite interesting too, speaking of precious metals. Anyway, yeah, Lisa, exactly right. Stock up on everything. Grow, raise food, hunt food. If you use it, if you need it, stock up on it now. That's it. Arian, stop blushing and just take it, would you? just deal with it. Own it. Yeah, Julianne Whittaker. Like the way that I see it is like, it's like the birthing canal. Do you know, we're going through labour now, and it's deeply unpleasant for everybody involved, but what's coming at the end is going to be magnificent, you know. Thank you, Lorraine. I really appreciate that. It's really kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, most of the world is on fiat currency at the moment, but I do think that's possibly about change. I know. But yes, Layla, it's true. The best is yet to come. I feel that. I feel that because I won't have it any other fucking way, right? That's the long and short of it. Like, that's the hill I'll fucking die on. I'm not leaving the world in a worse state for my children than the one that I came into. So it is my duty and my responsibility to affect that as far as I possibly can. And so my niche seems to be, you know, helping people sort their shit out. And I am here for that all day long. I love it. I love making a difference to people. Yeah, you're right, Layla. You shouldn't buy into the fear porn, but you also shouldn't be complacent. Like, there's a balance between the two. I started stocking up on things 2 years ago because I saw where this was going. Longer, actually, 2.5 years ago. As a Capricorn ascendant, that makes me feel very powerful and very much in control of my own shit. And then I don't need to worry about anything else, you know? I keep half an eye on it, but I think the biggest fuck you that you can give to the situation as is getting on with your life and enjoying it to the best of your ability, you know? Focusing on the really important stuff. Gloria, I'm glad to hear that. You should all stop watching mainstream media because it's all propaganda and bullshit. It's literally made up, most of it. Josette, you are very, very welcome. Thank you for being all here with me. You know, I feel so privileged to be able to be here with you. I don't know if that ever comes across properly. I don't know if I express it enough. I truly treat it as an honour to be able to be with people when they're in their dark place. It's a privilege. Like, the amount of trust that you all put in me, you know, I take that very seriously. Absolutely, Pravda's got nothing on CNN. Like, they're all as bad as each other. Oh, Kerry, Nine Inch Nails are my favourite band. Well, sort of joint favourite with Tool. I've seen them both. Oh, Karen. Well, we don't have any specific plans, actually. So, I was in Bulgaria about 5 weeks ago. Gosh, was it? It was just after my birthday. Excuse me. As a birthday present, my partner bought a plane ticket to Bulgaria and put me on it. I went, fuck off, I'll see you in like 4 or 5 days. A friend of mine owns a house over there, and they schemed between them to just get me away from everything and to spend a bit of time on my own. And a friend who owned a house actually was off travelling around Europe, and he was just like, I've got a lockbox on the back of the house, I'll leave the key for Carrie, and she can just go use the house. So yeah, that was absolutely incredible. I don't think I've spent that long on my own since I was 17, probably, something like that. And it was life-changing in a lot of ways. It helped me sort out a lot of stuff in my head about where I want to go moving forwards, you know. Just to help me, it was just a bit of space and a bit of peace, and it was exactly what I needed at the time that I needed it. And Bulgaria is absolutely stunning. I love it. And as I was wandering around, I was like, I should bring everybody back here so that they can see it. And so that's what I'm doing. The children would like to go to Greece for the day because their minds were absolutely blown that we could drive to Greece. And I said, we can totally drive to Greece for the day, and we'll go and do that. And I want to take the mountain that I went up when I was there by myself. And I just want to sort of potter around for a little bit. I've hired a car, and we're going to go do things. I don't know if I'm still here because my screen seems to have frozen. I'm going to keep talking, but I don't know if anybody can actually hear me. Christy, I flew into Sofia, and I went down to Bansko. Yeah, you can still hear me, awesome. Yeah, I stayed down Bansko way, which was really nice. I went up Viren. I went up so far in the car, and then I walked quite a lot of the way. And I thought I was getting somewhere near the top, and then I hit the hut, and I looked at the map, and it said it's like a 3.5 hour hike from here, and I was like, oh god. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon already. I'm probably not going to do that. So I walked back down again. Yeah, so like, you haven't been alone for 5 minutes in the last decade. My eldest is 23. Yeah, exactly the same. Like, I didn't anticipate quite how life-changing it would be. It really was. And it's really interesting because all of this, I wanted to talk to you about Mexico because I had a really outstanding time in Mexico, and it wasn't just that I went and it was hot and sunny, although it was both of those things. I actually did an ayahuasca ceremony with my partner while I was out there, and that was awesome. But that's kind of what's acted as a catalyst for all of this, because of what came up during the ceremony for me internally, and I spent most of it with my eyes closed, like, you know, having a thing. My screen's frozen again, but I'm still here. There were lots of realizations that I had about the way that I deal with the world, most of which I think have come from being a mother very young. Like, I was 18 when my son was born, and just having those 5 days, yeah, by myself helped me find myself quite a bit within there. And I was so glad to see them all when I came back. It was wonderful. Like, I was really sad to go, to be honest, but yeah. So we're just going to drive around, actually. I said, I actually wanted to do a road trip. I was like, let's do a road trip. We'll just do the loop. And Magdalena vetoed that and said, no, I want to stay in one place. I was like, right, then we're going to do lots of day trips. So she said, yeah, that's fine. So, oh, where? Oh, Kimberly, that's really wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that. Like, I'm so sad for... I think it's a really difficult time to be a teenager. Let's put it that way. Or even in your early 20s, actually. But I'm really, really glad that I could help in any small way, and I hope that she's doing better now. What's up? You'd like to create a clone of me to just sit with my tarots on your shoulder? That's wonderful. I like that. I like that very much. Yeah. Get it here thing. That's an excellent handle. I really, really like that. I love Greece. Such lovely people. They are wonderful. They're really wonderful people. XH, my sign is Leo. Yeah. It was Gisette. It was exactly what I needed. At exactly the time that I needed it. Like, I got a lot out of it. That all came in at exactly the right time. Yes. Kelly, don't worry about it. It's cool. It's all good. Big Z, you off now. Thank you for the TED Talk. God, I'd be a terrible TED talker. I'd just get up on stage and just start talking, and then I'd just go off on tangents, and then my children would be shouting at me from the audience about going off on tangents. Right? Oh, Taryn disappeared 20 minutes ago. Bless her. I didn't even notice she'd gone. That's really bad. Deviate, you're off. Sunday brekkie pancakes. That sounds absolutely magnificent. Enjoy your pancakes. I don't know what Lena's just ewed at, but it's something that I said she didn't like. Never mind. Josette, I'm new to this. Oh, I'm so sorry, Josette. That's really sad. Like I said, again, private readings aren't happening for at least a few weeks yet, and when they do, they're limited to the people in the community. Just because that's my thank you to them for supporting me, is giving them the first bite of the cherry on that. And for 18 months, there've never been any slots left over. Yeah. You have a cat named Lena. That will make Lena really, really happy. She loves cats. They're literally her favourite thing in the world. And pigeons, I think. Melly Alchemist, thank you for your amazing tarot therapy. That's cool. I like that, tarot therapy. It's cool. Josette, don't worry. Like, my God, I'm not offended at all by you asking. It's just that there's so much going on. There are so many things that I'm trying to keep up in the air at the moment that I literally cannot do personal readings at the moment. But they're coming soon. And like I said, the thank you that I give to my community is letting them pick first. I've always said, actually, that if there are any slots left over, then I will offer them out after that. But there never are, is the problem. You really do love cats and pigeons, baby. Yeah, that's true. Lena does the best impression of a pigeon I've ever heard. She's got the coo off to a T. Oh. I really appreciate that, Kathy Ann. Thank you. I say in my I put in the description box of the videos, like, I want to be who I needed when I was younger, right? And I know I'm probably not older than some of you, but it's more like having that calm sounding board, the perspective that can be given. I think it's missing from a lot of our personal relationships, and I love being that to people, you know. I like the idea of being a big sister. That's cool. Yeah, I'm actually a big sister. I'm the eldest of 4, but you know what I mean. Dawn, I really appreciate you saying that, Dawn Media. Thank you. I feel like I'm doing my job then, if that's the case. I'm sorry my camera keeps freezing. I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, Julie, I appreciate that as well. You're the only one I've never unsubscribed from. It boggles my mind when I think about how many of you there are out there. Like, I just, my brain starts to shut down and I just have to not think about it anymore. No, that's incredible. Thank you. I do know the shadow side. And I do know what it's like to live there permanently 24/7, and it's not fun. I don't want that for everyone. And it can be different. I know that it can be different. And so any little thing that I can do to help empower people and show them that it can be different is huge for me. Melissa, then I shall be your sister. Consider me to be your sister, all of you. Lisa, I did not know that. Lisa said Monday the 26th of September, Jupiter reaches opposition when it would be at its brightest. Opposition occurs when the Earth passes between a planet and the Sun, which results in the planet's face being brightly illuminated. Plus this Jupiter opposition is the closest one in 70 years. That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of commitment and I don't know. There's a lot of commitment and pressure, but I don't ever consider the possibility that I could do anything else. That's the long and short of it. Like this is pretty much my life. This and my children is my life. Yeah. Oh, bless you, Sarah. Thank you. That's really kind of you. Jupiter really want to say hello. Yeah. Well, that'll either be a good thing or a bad thing, right? I appreciate that, Lynette. Absolutely adore Lynette. Lynette's one of my favourite people on the entire planet. So listen, guys, it's like 11 o'clock here, and I'm fucking frozen in a very strange-faced thing here. I'm thinking it's probably time for me to think about going away, to be honest, because tomorrow is full of... tonight is full of lots of things that I need to do, but I've got lots of things to do tomorrow as well. Yeah, Wayne, the camera's actually frozen for me too. Like, I don't know what the crack is with that. Jojo, that's amazing. Thank you. I'm so humbled when people tell me things like that. It's just, you've no idea how deeply that affects me. It's incredible. Oh, kitty cat fur babies. I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, one of my twins died. It's a pain like nothing else, I think, the loss of a twin. I see it in my daughter, and she was too young to even remember it, but it's there. The soul knows. Oh, Gisette, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I did say I would release Aquarius is one of the ones that needs to be released. When I get off this stream, I'll get the next ones out, the next 3, and then I'll release the other 3 tomorrow. It is the dark moon. You need to rest. Everybody needs to rest. Everybody go to bed now. Yes, Helen. That's absolutely fucking right. Well, thank you, Jean. That's really kind of you. I really appreciate that. I do try really hard to be honest, but I try and be kind with it. Yeah. I think it's important. Oh. Lena, you scared half the fucking planet with your policeman knock. I swear to God. Oh, JJ, thank you. That's really kind of you. But I really must go. Like, I really need a wee, actually, as well. But it's been amazing to see you all. I'm thinking that we might stick with tradition and do a Halloween live stream, Samhain live stream, if any of you all are up for it. I think it's actually falling on a Monday this year, which might not be terribly convenient for a lot of people. So maybe I might do it the day before, like the Sunday or something. If that's something that you're interested in, do let me know. I understand that lots of you have your own rituals and things like that you need to do on such times. Yeah, I thought Monday might be difficult, Lindsay. So it might be a Sunday night thing instead. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna go. I'm really gonna enjoy my wee, James. It's gonna be great. Right. I love you all so much, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so much for giving up your time and sitting with me here this evening. I appreciate it more than you could possibly know. So, I'll move this fucking thing out of the way. I don't know how to do this. Oh, like that. That sound. I love you all so much. Take care, and I will see you very, very soon.